I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news. Bengals left tackle Jonah Williams has a dislocated kneecap and is week to week. Guard Alex Kappa, who missed last night's AFC wildcard win with a knee injury, is also week to week. Cincinnati is at Buffalo for Sunday's divisional round game. One more matchup left in NFL Super Wildcard Weekend. Cowboys-Buccaneers on the NFC side on Monday Night Football. Questions surrounding Dallas coming off that embarrassing Week 18 loss to Washington, plus quarterback Dak Prescott's 7-game interception streak. Prescott needs to get going quickly tonight, believes Pro Football Hall of Famer and Monday Night Football analyst Troy Aikman.
Complete some passes early, get off to a good start. If he comes out and struggles early and has something negative happen, I think that's going to be hard as a quarterback on the road in the postseason. Those are hard to overcome, and that could be unsettling for the entire team.
Bucs Cowboys 8 Eastern, ABC, ESPN TV, and ESPN2. Tampa Bay center Ryan Jensen activated from IR today. He's eligible to return from a knee injury tonight.
Coming up Tuesday, could Lamar Jackson really be done in Baltimore? If so, I had the perfect landing spot for the former MVP, Keyshawn J. Willimax, 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Happy MLK Day to everyone. Hope you're taking some time to recognize the reason for the day and celebrate. And if you have the day off, awesome. Thanks for spending some of your holiday here with us. We're here for the next 3 hours. Tell a friend. Yes, I assure you, we are, in fact, working today. A lot to get to. Today is the deadline for players to declare early for the NFL draft. One very notable LSU player that we're waiting on, which is John Emery, who hasn't formally announced yet, but my understanding is that John Emery is returning to LSU. The announcement that he made with Gordon a couple of weeks back was sort of a lean that's the indicator he is coming back. So he has waffled a bit on that decision. We'll wait for it formally today, but I think LSU is going to get good news there unless if something's transpired in the last week or so. So we'll keep our eye on that here throughout the show today. So a lot to get to. Final game of Super Wildcard Weekend, Bucs and Cowboys tonight. We'll get a pick from Jimmy Ott. We'll preview that game later. So a lot to get to, and glad you're here. Over the weekend, when the Chargers lost to the Jaguars in somewhat historic fashion, right? They blew a 27-point lead. It was stunning to watch that transpire if you were watching that on Saturday, like I was. I actually, my wife has been sick all weekend, so it was our anniversary weekend. We ended up doing nothing because she didn't leave the house and just sort of was in bed very sick all weekend. So I was just at home by myself and, with family. But she was in bed, asleep. I was watching a blowout of a football game, had nowhere to go, nothing to do. So I poured a whiskey and got on Twitter and was like, let's just talk, ask me questions. That's how bad that game was. I had nothing to do. And then, of course, it got good. But whenever the Jaguars polished off the comeback, the first thing I tweeted was, so Sean Payton of the Chargers, right? And I think everyone else assumed the exact same, that Sean Payton would end up that the Chargers would fire Staley after that horrible collapse and ultimately, would hire Sean Payton. Now, it appears as though, however, that may not be the case. So Adam Schefter on Sunday said, quote, "It's hard to see this franchise with its history being as aggressive as it would need to be to get Sean Payton. As much as he might be able to help that franchise, I don't know how realistic that is." And Jim Trotter, who's covered the Chargers for a long time, put together a really nice Twitter thread sort of explaining why he thinks they will not go after Sean Payton. So he set the ground rules essentially saying that he's just giving you his opinion. And again, Jim Trotter, verified Twitter account, NFL.com, has covered the Chargers for a lot of years. He wrote, cutting to the chase, I do not believe the Chargers will fire Brandon Staley. However, I do believe there will be changes to the staff. He writes, I believe Sean Payton has never been a serious consideration because the team has never given serious consideration to firing Staley. And even if they were to make a change, there are too many factors working against Payton walking their sideline. The factors include, he writes, draft picks. The Chargers love draft capital. They've exercised a first-round pick in each of the last 23 drafts and not likely to give up multiple picks, including a one, for Payton. Contract, he writes. Payton figures to be one of the league's higher-paid coaches when he joins the team, and the Chargers simply don't spend on coaches in that way. Their last 3 hires have all been first-time head coaches who don't command large salaries. However, he writes, people who call them cheap are ill-informed. I was a beat writer when they pursued Bill Parcells and Jimmy Johnson. The talks never got to money, nor would money have been an issue. Parcells and Johnson were simply content with their lives on the East Coast and out of football. He goes on. One more thought about the money issue. I've seen them pay top dollar for players. Seau, LT, Weddle, Rivers, Bosa, James, Jackson. The negotiations may have been hard, but the players ultimately got paid, sometimes setting the bar at their positions. And a couple of more, he writes, ownership also believes in checks and balances. Dean Spanos is allergic to giving full authority to one person. Payton had significant influence in New Orleans, likely will want it at his next stop. Lastly, and I know many of you don't want to hear it, the leadership likes a lot of things about Staley. The way he leads, communicates, schemes, and carries himself. That means a lot to them. He finishes by saying, no one's happy about the Jags' loss. I believe ownership is confident that Staley, who finished 9-8, 10-7 in his first 2 seasons, will continue to grow in the job. He was hired only 5 years after working as a Division III defensive coordinator and only 1 year as an NFL DC. Make of it what you will. That's how I say things shaking out. So again, that was a very long thread on Twitter by Jim Trotter, who sort of laid out the situation there in LA with the Chargers. And to just simplify it, number 1, they don't like giving up draft picks. Number 2, they don't like paying coaches. Number 3, they don't want to give coaches autonomy. You'd have to give up draft picks to get paid, and you'd have to pay them a lot of money, and you'd have to give them a lot of autonomy. So for all those reasons, it sort of makes sense. And I mentioned, so that was Jim Trotter, and then Adam Schefter went on ESPN yesterday and essentially said the same thing. So you're getting it from someone who's covered that team specifically for a long time, and the same thing from the guy who's arguably the best nationally to do it in Adam Schefter. I think it's a thought on the Chargers if they don't pursue Sean Payton. That obviously would be surprising because if you are the Chargers, for all the reasons we've talked about, you've got an elite young quarterback, your franchise quarterback, and then you've got a defensive-minded coach who oddly was a quarterback, but he's a defensive-minded head coach, and you don't have really an offensive system to cultivate Justin Herbert into what his max potential could be. Sean Payton would undeniably be that. Also, if Sean Payton ends up in Denver, then you're the Chargers, and you've got to face Sean Payton instead of having him on your sideline. How detrimental could that be? So, you look at what is out there, and, to the point about the Chargers valuing their draft picks, if you look at the Chargers all time in the first round, do this exercise. Muse, grab the mic and do this exercise with me if you would. I want you to tell me if you think with these first-round picks the Chargers hit or missed. This year they drafted Zion Johnson out of Boston College, the offensive lineman. Probably too early to tell, I would guess.
Yeah, I would say so.
Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern, the first rounder. He doesn't look like a guy that would warrant the 13th overall pick.
No, I was going to say miss.
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, it's a hit.
That's obvious.
That's a hit.
Jerry Tillery. Tillery didn't even get to a second contract.
No, that's a miss.
They didn't pick up his 5th-year option. Derwin James, of course, is a hit. Yeah,
naturally.
Mike Williams,
hit,
and Joey Bosa. So they had a good run there. Melvin Gordon, they shipped him out of town.
Yeah. I feel like he had a good year or so, but nothing sustainable. So miss.
Jason Verrett, the first rounder out of TCU. I remember, and the Saints were high on Jason Verrett as well. DJ Fluker,
miss.
Melvin Ingram,
that worked.
Sure. Corey Leggett,
nope.
All the way back in 2010, Ryan Matthews. Ryan Matthews had a couple of good years with him coming out of Fresno. Larry English, I don't even know who that is.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was like, that's a real person?
He was the 16th pick, a linebacker out of Northern Illinois.
Yeah, no, that's a miss.
My goodness, did this guy even...
Larry English? That's a real football player?
Larry English, 12 career sacks.
Okay. Hey, there you go.
Oh, man.
It's a season for some people.
Antoine Cason.
Nope.
Buster Davis. Hate to say it, but no. I mean, now you're going back 2007. My point is, like, they had a good run. Bosa, Derwin James, Herbert. They had a good run, but aside from that, it's been pretty bad. Mm-hmm. And if you had an opportunity to give up what would be, I believe, the 22nd pick in this year's draft for Sean Payton, like, how is that confusing? People get really romantic about draft picks, man. Like, that's the thing that I think sometimes you sort of cripple yourself. I mean, you could certainly look at draft picks and look at your hits, but the flip side of it is so often we ignore the misses, and you just assume that every pick is going to be a hit when that's not necessarily the case. So, look, if the Chargers don't want Sean Payton, okay. I mean, I'm somewhat indifferent on where he goes now. I just want him to go somewhere so the Saints can get the capital, the draft capital. And I know I just said people are romantic about picks, but I'm looking at the New Orleans Saints without assets, right? The Saints don't have tradable assets. They've given up draft capital. You don't just magically get better. You got to find a way to get new assets. Well, this is the way to do it. The only valuable asset you have is Sean Payton, so trade him off. And if it's not to the Chargers, okay. I mean, it's going to be to somebody. And I would presume now it's going to be Denver, Houston, Arizona, who have inquired. And the other here is Carolina. And the Carolina Panthers have jumped into the mix. Now, I don't love the idea of Sean Payton coaching in the division. For a lot of reasons, it makes sense for Carolina. He knows the division, clearly, and he knows the Saints, and he's been in the division for a long time, so he's scouted a lot of the players and knows the venues and all those different things. So, 6 games a year are against teams that he would know intimately. And as a Saints fan, I would hate that, but I don't know that there's a great option for Sean Payton to go anywhere that's better. That's other than coaching New Orleans, which isn't going to happen. So, in some respect, you have to sever yourself emotionally and say, I don't really care where he goes. I just want him to go to the place that's going to give us the best return. Us meaning, if you're the Saints, thinking along those lines. And right now, you look at the picks that could be acquired in this draft. Houston has the number 2 pick. Arizona has the number 3 pick. Carolina has the 9th pick. Houston has the 12th pick. The Chargers have what we assume will be the 22nd pick. And Denver has what Tankathon is projecting as the 29th pick. So we will, that's of course a pick from San Francisco via Miami with the Bradley Chubb trade. So I don't know if realistically you're going to get one of those first 3 picks, 2, 3, or 9. I don't think you're going to get a top 10 pick. Sean Payton was a guest on The Herd with Colin Cowherd and essentially said the compensation would be a mid to late first rounder. So you would be looking somewhere, Houston's 12th pick. If you eliminate the Chargers, their 22nd pick, then maybe it's Denver's 29th pick. I mean, that's probably more what you're looking at than maybe future picks as well. So the Chargers haven't formally said that Staley is staying, but all the sort of anecdotal evidence here seems to point to Staley returning. And if that's the case, that's one fewer potential destination for Sean Payton. We will find out in short order. Tuesday, the 17th, Sean Payton has his first interview, that one with Houston, and then we'll start to find out with Denver, and then we'll start to find out what may transpire after that. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. I mentioned Sean Payton was on The Herd. A bit later in the show, we'll revisit. We'll let you hear what Sean Payton said about this process and compensation and all that sort of stuff. We'll get to that coming up a bit later in the show. Let me knock out a quick break. As I mentioned, today is the deadline for college football players to declare early for the NFL draft. We'll kind of reset that story from an LSU perspective, tell you who has declared, who's replacing those, sort of give you a roster assessment here with today being the draft deadline. Glad you're with us here on a Monday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Tonight and every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. So get by either Pluckers location, Nicholson or Bluebonnet, and enjoy all-you-can-eat wings. Let me remind you, of course, with it being MLK Day, the NBA always does a full day of basketball, and it's a great time to get by Pluckers because you can get there tonight and watch all the basketball for the remainder of the day. And you've got the wrap-up of Super Wildcard Weekend tonight with the Cowboys at the Bucs. So if you want to get out somewhere and not only watch Monday Night Football, but watch NBA basketball, get on by either Pluckers location and enjoy all-you-can-eat wings. That's tonight and every Monday, both Pluckers locations. Nicholson, just south of campus. Look, if you're at Tiger Stadium, go south on Nicholson, just past Southgate Towers. It's on the left. You can't miss it. Big blue Plucker sign. And then, of course, the Blue Bonnet location, which is right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. It's Pluckers. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Monday Night Football, NBA basketball, all-you-can-eat wings. It's Pluckers if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've got that blue sky. I've got that sunshine.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together,
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
LSU welcomed its mid-year enrollees to campus today. If you check the LSU social media, there's a photo of all the guys who are going to begin the classes this semester coming up next week out at LSU and then be here for spring football. It's a big group. I don't know if my math is great, but I counted 23 players. So that would include not only some your transfer portal guys, but also your incoming freshmen that are early enrollees, and then several preferred walk-ons as well. So what struck me the most is just how different. Well, actually, what struck me the most is their tennis shoes. The sneaker game for these guys is fire. Muse, look at that picture and tell me that's sneaker game. I mean, look, your boy in the front, I'm not even sure that is, but he's got his Panda Dunks on. I'll have to learn their names later, but the guy with the big hair.
You're just already being able to point out sneakers.
Well, yeah, I mean,
picture.
That's actually,
crazy.
there's a drop tomorrow for Panda Dunks. At 9 a.m., I got my notification set. I mean, I'm on it. Don't bother me tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Right.
Like I'm telling you what I'm doing.
You're copping a pair, basically. Yeah.
100%.
Right.
I mean, I'll be sitting there hitting refresh as soon as.
Like people trying to enter a queue for tickets to the concert.
Yeah. Taylor Swift has nothing on this.
Okay.
I got it. I will have
Panda Dunks greater than Taylor Swift.
For me, yes.
All right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to own a pair of these shoes or go to a Taylor Swift concert, absolutely. Now, if I got to meet Taylor Swift or that's different, I would think. But yeah, maybe.
You'd still go with the shoes. Let's be honest. At least right now. I mean, you're still that.
No, I guess the difference is if I were going to wait in a queue to buy shoes or to buy Taylor Swift tickets, I would 100% wait in a queue to buy shoes.
Right.
But if you're talking about an experience, what if you got to go meet Taylor Swift and bring the family and that would be cool, backstage, side stage, whatever. That's different than just I'm going to buy shoes or buy tickets to the show. I think Taylor Swift is largely underappreciated by the mat. She's got her fans, no doubt, but I think
I was about to say
her ability, she is a. This is a good overrated under. We might have done this one before.
I think we did.
She has great broad and crossover appeal as an actress. She started as a country singer,
right?
Now is crossed from country to pop, and it's pretty incredible. But I think she has too many haters, is my point. When she's super, super talented. Anyway, that's not the point. But yes, the first thing I noticed was shoe game for all these guys. Very impressive. Guy dead center's got on the purple and gold Jordans, which is very impressive. You check them right there. That's really impressive right there. See? You got them? Really good. Anyway,
I like those.
I know they're really good.
Where are the Panda Dunks real quick?
Right here.
Let me see them. I don't know.
There you go. Right there.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
It's black and white like a panda.
Yeah, I see it. I like it.
Anyway, so whatever. I was going to say something. I don't know what. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The first thing that struck me was their shoes. The second thing that struck me is how many players there are. There are 23. There was a time in the not-too-distant past when it was rare that you had a player or two that would show up at the mid-year. Obviously, when you bring in as many transfers as LSU has, that changes things a bit because you have guys that are already enrolled in school, and they're just changing schools by semester. But even the high school signees that are the mid-year enrollees, guys that just finish high school early, it's that big of an advantage many feel to get to school a semester early. And I'd love to see at some point, I don't know if any of the recruiting services have ever done this, but to see if there is any real noticeable benefit to a player arriving early. One very obvious example is Will Campbell. Okay, Will Campbell showed up and went through spring ball last year. Because Will Campbell went through spring ball, it was very early in spring ball that Brian Kelly, if you all remember the quote, Brian Kelly said, it's time. Maturity-wise, he was there. Physically, he was there. It was just a matter of if he could handle it maturity-wise. And after 3 practices, he was like, put the kid in at left tackle. And they did, and then he became your starting left tackle. I don't know if they arrive at that decision as early as they did if Will Campbell didn't go through spring. The flip side of it is Emory Jones was not here for spring football, just like Shelton Sampson is not, because Catholic does not allow their students to graduate early. So Emory Jones wasn't here in spring, but it certainly didn't hold him back. Now, he wasn't starting the opener, but he got legit run week 2 against Southern, and then by the following week, it was like, all right, that's your job. Just take it. So I don't know. I guess there are – I don't know if there's any universally accepted truth one way or the other about guys leaving high school early to enroll early, and if that actually makes a difference. So anyway, if you want to join us, you can. If you got any thoughts on that, feel free. You can email us, Matt at 1045ESPN.com. You can tweet us at Matt Moscona.
Hey, Twitter world.
Thank you, Juice. You can jump in the Bayou Forward YouTube chat on the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel, or you can text in the 225 at 396-4400, 396-4400. All right, let's take a quick look at the LSU guys and their draft decisions. Muse, can you hit me with a little music bed, if you would, if you have something handy there, just like any of our fun little generic music beds that just give a little bit of the ambiance there. How long does this one run? I have a feeling it's probably going to run out in about 60 seconds.
Dang, you nailed that one.
Yeah.
Let me find another one. Hold on.
60-second beds. Yeah. The rejoin beds aren't.
Some of them are longer.
Okay.
This one's 2.5 minutes.
Oh, I like this. Let's see if we can do this in 2.5 minutes. All right. So, with a little bit of an asterisk, LSU is going to lose a little more than a handful of guys to the NFL draft early. Now, there were guys who had more eligibility but were seniors. For example, Mike Jones was a senior but could have come back for a super senior season, a 6th year. Same with Micah Baskerville. Those guys elected not to do that. But I'm going to exclude them. I'm going to talk about the underclassmen who've decided to leave early here and declare for the draft. Let's start on the defensive line. And you lose 3 of your 4 starters on the defensive line. Jaquelin Roy was the most recent to jump into the draft. And here's what Brian Kelly had to say about Roy during the season.
I think Jay Roy has really steadied himself in terms of, what he's done on a day-to-day basis, on the practice field. He was banged up a little bit earlier in the season and had some back issues. And, I thought there was some inconsistency early on, but he's really steadied himself to give us really good play here down the stretch.
What if I told you Jaquelin Roy had more tackles this season than Mekhi Wingo? Would you believe me? That's a fact. That actually happened. 49 for Roy, 47 for Wingo. Now, Wingo did have the 6 tackles for loss to 3.5 for Jay Roy. And Wingo also had 3 sacks as opposed to half a sack for Roy. But it seemed like Wingo just became a more consistent player. But the production for Jaquelin Roy was there this year. As it was on the edge with B.J. Ojulari, who was the heart and soul of this defense for the majority of the season. Of course, wore the number 18. Here was Brian Kelly on 18.
He's a leader by example. He works hard, does the right things on and off the field, sets a great example. So, when you're talking about culture change, when you're talking about standards and doing things differently, you need a couple of guys early on that kind of set that example by the way they do things. He was one of those guys for me that early on just was all in. And then, obviously, he plays so hard, doesn't take plays off. Go back to the Auburn game where he came up with a strip sack that changed the momentum of the game. It was a leader's kind of play where effort was needed in the time in the game where we needed a big play, and he stepped up.
8.5 tackles for loss for B.J. Ojulari this past season, 5.5 sacks. And keep in mind also that Ojulari only played in 11 games. He missed 3 games this year when he was battling some injury early where they sat him against Southern. So he had opportunities to stat pad in other instances when he didn't do it because for his own health, he sat. I think B.J. Ojulari is a guy who, we talked about him when he declared, phenomenal player, phenomenal leader. He's going to go to the Combine and wow, not only because of his physicality, but also with the way he carries himself. And I think he's going to go make himself an awful lot of money at the Combine. I'll say the exact same for Ali Gay, who was another guy who was such an important glue guy for this team. Here was Matt House on Ali Gay.
I think number one is length. He's a good speed to power rusher. When he uses that elite length along with the speed, he can generate so much power, and the torque he generates on a tackle can just be different. From just a mentality standpoint, the guy loves to be taught, and that's big.
Now, the interesting thing is that, Ali Gay had a really nice season. He had 6 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, 36 tackles on the season. But he did see Savion Jones nip at his heels and, quite honestly, take a lot of reps from him as the season went along. But still, this was Ali Gay's most productive season and the only season where he stayed healthy for a full season and played in 13 games, whereas a year ago he played in just 4 before the injury. So, Ali Gay leaving now is certainly the right decision for him. As a guy who's going to try his hand at the NFL with a little left to prove. Jay Ward is an interesting one because he's as versatile a defender as LSU has. But you feel like there's probably still a little more meat on the bone in college for him had he come back. Here was Brian Kelly on Jay Ward.
It's one that allows him to be in the action. It allows him to, play close to the football, play man coverage, be a lot more aggressive. He's an aggressive player. He's a really good tackler, and I think it really suits his skills. And since we've made that move in week 2, he's really played well for us. And obviously, SEC Defensive Player of the Week this past week, he was he was all over the field. So I think it was really about putting him in the right position. He played a lot of deep safety, post safety in the first week, and although he's certainly capable of doing that, we feel like the best position for him was moving him down to the nickel position.
Yeah, and the thing about Jay Ward, of course, in the bowl game, they kicked him out, and he played outside cornerback because they needed him there. We've seen him play deep safety as well. He's a versatile guy who's going to be able to play on special teams as well, and I think hopefully will be an early day 2 pick if he can climb that high. But Jay Ward was 6th on LSU's team in tackles this year with 62.5 for loss. He had the 4 pass breakups. They needed him to be physical in the box, and he was this year. Such a huge part of this defense. So Jay Ward is off to the NFL draft. On the offensive side, really where you're losing guys is your 2 receivers with Jure Jenkins and Kayshon Boutte. Let's start with Jure.
Yeah, I would say the one word that stands out is consistency. You know, he's been consistent each and every day, practice-wise, his preparation. He's bigger, he's stronger. You know, we made him a game day captain for us on offense because of that, and you know, obviously it showed in the game as well. So yeah, he's been really good. And again, I would say that there's a lot of depth certainly, and there's a lot of really good wide receivers, but he has really done a great job of singling himself out with his consistent play. 4th
leading receiver on the team with 27 catches for 404 yards and 6 touchdowns. A guy who kind of like all he did was catch touchdowns. But Jure Jenkins ends his LSU career with being noted for some really big moments, like we've talked about the game winner against Texas A&M, the touchdown, deep ball against Florida, the touchdown against Florida State. That would have tied the game had they made the PAT. But Jure Jenkins is off to the NFL draft, as is Kayshon Boutte, who his career is going to be remembered like many others for the flashes of brilliance, but maybe the unrealized full potential. Brian Kelly did talk about Kayshon Boutte earlier this year.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Kayshon, and his standard is so high. And he's going to have great games. And it's going to be in the totality of his work that he's going to be evaluated. You know, he hadn't played in a while. He'd been out with an injury. Maybe there was a little rust there. He's the least guy that I'm concerned about on our offense.
Oddly, a guy that wore number 7, had such an incredible second half of his freshman season, had a great first half of his sophomore season before he was injured, and then this year certainly rode that roller coaster ups and downs personally and on the field as well. But even still, Kayshon, despite playing just 11 games, was your 2nd leading receiver. You realize that? I mean, behind Malik Neighbors, who had 72 catches for 1,000 yards, Kayshon had 48 for 538. He was 2nd on the team in receptions and in receiving yards, despite missing 3 games and, at times being a bit absent in the offense. It goes to show you what his potential is if he can realize it. The good news for LSU, obviously, is you are loaded at the receiver position and the defensive line position, where we just talked about losing 3 of your 4 starters. Not only did you get Mason Smith back, but you reloaded there in the portal out of necessity. Where LSU might have been weak, they've certainly addressed that. It's a beautiful illustration of roster management that Brian Kelly and his staff have done so far. Again, the one name who we have not yet heard a final decision as of right now is John Emery. But my understanding is when they were down in Orlando, the staff was preparing for John Emery to leave early. I think T-Bob and I talked about this on Whiskey and Wine after the bowl game. So much so that they were already doing their due diligence in the portal, scouting running backs that they might target. I was even given a name. But short time after the bowl game, we saw the announcement from John Emery that he was re-upping with Gordon McKernan for his NIL opportunity. And as I'm told, it's their understanding that John Emery is going to return, which is why they were willing to do that deal. Waiting on a final decision from John Emery. But, well, if you return John Emery, who's your most dynamic back, you get Josh Williams healthy, you get Armani Goodwin back healthy as well. You add Noah Cain for a senior season to the mix, and you bring in the 2 freshmen. Now, all of a sudden, you got a really deep room at running back. Maybe still missing the big, bell cow home run hitter. But that might be the second biggest news of this offseason besides Jaden Daniels coming back if John Emery decides to give it another go here for the Tigers. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here on this MLK Day. We'll knock out a quick break. We'll come back, go around the SEC. A ton to get to. Speaking of the future of LSU, 2024 quarterback commit Colin Hurley is going to join us to start hour number 3. So If you got to get out of here at some point, make sure you come back to start hour number 3 at 5 o'clock Central. Colin Hurley will be with us. We're looking forward to that conversation. All right, stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential. If you need a realtor, you need Darren James. Not only is Darren James a realtor, but he's a realtor with a plan. Here's something I would always encourage you. If you're thinking about selling your home and you're interviewing realtors, ask your realtor for their plan. What is their plan to sell your home? Very specific plan to sell your home. Because if you ask Darren James that question, he is going to give you a very detailed step-by-step plan of how he's going to sell your home, how he's going to market your home, and how he's going to get you to the closing table faster for more money. There's a reason Darren James is on the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1% of realtors in America. Again, I say that every day, but that's not just some subjective talking point. It's based on results, number of homes closed. Darren James, top 1% in America. You need to sell your home, you need Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Ford has $4,000 off MSRP plus $1,000 Ford credit cash on new 22 Ford F-150 XLT trucks. That's $5,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications. The powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution. A network built for every possibility. Moving faster than ever before. Streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
We know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Black Widow Jeep Gladiators in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I'll go around the SEC in just a quick second. Like every day, the college baseball publications are putting out more and more of these lists, right? So like we went over the top transfers, we went over the top freshmen, we went over the top this and that. Perfect Game put out their top 150 juniors for the upcoming season, and there were 7 LSU players listed among them. Dylan Cruz, number 1 on the list. Paul Skeens, number 8 on the list. Trey Morgan, number 16. So this is just the junior class. You have 3 of the top 16. Christian Little, the Vanderbilt transfer, at number 61. They got Ty Floyd at 88, and I would submit to you that by the end of this season, that number is going to be dramatically different. Blake Money at 119 and Jordan Thompson at 128. That's the guy who I'm going to be most interested in this year is Jordan Thompson. Had a rough start to last year. That's undeniable. He really struggled with the glove, so much so that, look, Jay Johnson was shuffling the infield a bit, trying to find some consistency. And they ultimately stuck with Jordan Thompson at short, and he steadied himself as the year went along. And in some of the conversations that I've had, not only with Jay Johnson, but just other people around the program, it's that he looks exceptional at short. And they're very excited about Jordan Thompson there this year. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt physically he has the range and the arm to play that position at an elite level in the SEC. It's just about consistency for him at this point. And maybe the most impressive thing, if you remember this a year ago, Jay Johnson did say this late in the year. He said, "There's nobody I'd rather have with a bat in his hands in a big moment than Jordan Thompson." And a lot of that doesn't have to do with physical ability; it has to do with makeup. Like, who do you want to be able to elevate in a big spot? And if Jordan Thompson isn't going to shy away from that, he certainly wouldn't shy away from playing shortstop in the SEC. So there's a lot of talk and hype, understandably, about Dylan Cruz and Tommy White, and we all know Trey Morgan and Paul Skeens coming in and Ty Floyd elevating. There's a lot of talking points. That's one that we're probably not talking about as much. That maybe it's a good thing, takes a little bit of the pressure off, but keep an eye that I think Jordan Thompson is probably poised for a really, really big year, big bounce back year here as a junior. All right, it's After Further Review. As we mentioned tonight, got the wrap-up of Wild Card Weekend. If you want to bet on tonight's game, you can do so at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Remember, new customers use the promo code Baton Rouge. Bet just $5 on tonight's ball game, and they'll give you $200 in free bets at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, you got to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. Tip of the cap to the Otter. His crew had a perfect weekend this weekend. It was really, really, really impressive. The Niners were a consensus pick to win and cover. They did. The Jaguars and the point, several had the Jags winning that game outright. Now that was a little bit of a rub the rabbit's foot, obviously, to win that one. But as we made through the rest of the wild card weekend, the Giants were a pick not only to cover but to win. Had Giants on the money line. That was one of Bruce Marshall's picks. The Paul Nolan last Thursday gave you the Ravens plus 9.5 here on this show. So what a weekend. The Dolphins and the points were a pick. We'll get the pick for tonight's game with Dallas and Tampa, but so far a 5-0 weekend for the Otters crew, betting NFL wildcard weekend. So Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks later. Make sure you're playing along with us here at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Stepped up same-game parlays available as well. You got to opt in. It's all at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus issued as free bets. One free bet issued based on amount of initial losing NFL bet up to $10. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Licensing partner Gold Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, running a little late, but let's do it. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
By now you've heard this tragic story. Men's basketball player Darius Miles and another man have been charged with capital murder in connection with a Sunday morning shooting near campus. They killed a 23-year-old woman. Miles, a junior reserve forward from Washington, D.C., is no longer on the team. Miles' attorney said in a statement on Monday that he and his family are heartbroken over the death of Jamea Janae Harris and are maintaining Darius's innocence. Alabama had announced before the game against LSU Miles would miss the rest of the season with an ankle injury. We will keep you posted.
The Florida Gators.
Alabama offensive line transfer Damian George has committed to Billy Napier and his staff. George, 6'6", 333-pound offensive lineman, played just 2 games this past year for the Tide after playing in 12 games a year ago. George has 2 years of eligibility remaining.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss has landed a commitment from UAB transfer offensive lineman Quincy McGee. He was second team All-Conference USA, has 1 year of eligibility remaining. Ole Miss returns 4 of its 5 starters on the offensive line. So the question is whether or not McGee can replace departing left guard Nick Broker. McGee is 6'4", 320, started all 13 games for UAB this year.
The Auburn Tigers.
Austin Keys became the 12th transfer and second linebacker from an SEC program to join Hugh Freeze's squad this year. He's a former 3-star. Hugh Freeze now grabbed a dozen players out of the portal there at Auburn. Keys is 6'4", 245, played in 23 games in his career at Ole Miss. He'll now finish his career at Auburn, where they have the 4th-ranked transfer group in the country.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas has landed another wide receiver, this time Bowling Green transfer Tyrone Broden, 6'7", 210. He's the 9th scholarship transfer addition this offseason for the Hogs. Broden has 2 years of eligibility remaining, had 32 catches for 506 yards and 7 touchdowns this year for Bowling Green.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
And Justice J. Terry was in Athens over the weekend, where he committed for the class of 2025. He's a 4-star defensive lineman out of Georgia, 6'5", 270. He ranks as the nation's number 35 overall player for 2025 in the 247 composite. He's the 3rd member of the 2025 recruiting class for Georgia, which now means Georgia has the number 1 class for 2024 and 2025. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. Online, GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. That's what you always get at Gulf Coast Office Products. Proudly selling the Savin line, a national leader among Savin dealers, but they will service all makes and models. It's Gulf Coast Office Products, GCOPnet.com. All right, an historic day for LSU Lady Tiger basketball. We'll get to that in our NFL Wildcard Weekend takeaways coming up in about 15 minutes. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by New Orleans Flooring. You can always get to the website at nolaflooring.com, nolaflooring.com. I was talking to a friend today who's got a big remodel job going on. They need like 60,000. It's a gigantic job, square feet of flooring. And they were like, where are they? I'm like, well, they're on Prairieville, on Airline in Prairieville. If you go south, past the Walmart, they're on the right, the old boat store building right there. And so wait a minute. New Orleans Flooring's in Prairieville. I said, well, they got a New Orleans location as well. So the New Orleans location is in Metairie, and now they have the Prairieville location as well. And both locations keep inventory in stock. Listen, they have their own in-house brand, which is exceptional quality. They'll sell all the different product lines as well. And because they keep product in stock and eliminate the middleman, they can save you as much as 50%, 50% on your costs. Buy today, install tomorrow. NOLAflooring.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $7,500 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. New 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $7,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Congrats to Simone Augustus. Sunday in Baton Rouge, they unveiled her statue with a ceremony outside of the Maravich Center, I guess outside of the basketball practice facility before LSU played Auburn. And with the win against Auburn, LSU now moves up to number 3 in the country. They're 18-0, the longest winning streak in program history. But it was a day that belonged to Simone Augustus in honoring not only the greatest women's basketball player that ever played at LSU, but I would argue the greatest female athlete in LSU history. Not only a generational talent, but a transformative player in that. You know, Simone Augustus, yes, it mattered that she's from Baton Rouge, right? She prepped at Capitol High and was the National Player of the Year and the prospect that everybody wanted, and decided to stay home, and not just for the home state, but her city, and play at LSU when she could have gone anywhere. I mean, she could have gone to Tennessee or to UConn or to Stanford or Maryland or any of the great programs that were Baylor, or Kim Mulkey was recruiting her at Louisiana Tech at the time. Then, of course, got the Baylor job in 2000. But, Simone could have gone anywhere, came to LSU, and made people here care about women's basketball in a way that they never had before, and quite honestly have not since. And might, again, now with the way Kim Mulkey is building this back into a championship caliber program. But 5 straight Final Fours. I mean, that was on the back of Simone Augustus being the Pied Piper who came here. And, of course, then Sylvia Fowles followed and so many other great players, which led to that great era. Now, of course, they never got over the hump. 5 straight Final Fours, and they never won a game in the Final Four. But that doesn't tarnish the legacy that Simone Augustus built. She very much had an effect on women's basketball here, the way that Skip Bertman did on baseball. And I don't think that's overstating it. Skip Bertman himself called her the most influential recruit in LSU athletics history, not women's basketball, in LSU athletics history. And I think there's something to be said for that, because she made people care about something that they didn't care about before. And I don't mean for that to sound dismissive to any of the young ladies and young women that came before her and played and wore the purple and gold and had good, fine seasons and made it to the NCAA tournament. But they were never putting 17,000 people in the Maravich Center until Simone Augustus came. And they started going to Final Fours, and everybody cared. I mean, it was something that we could talk about on talk radio, and people intimately cared. So, yes, she is incredibly deserving of that honor. I can't imagine any female athlete at LSU who would be more deserving than Simone Augustus. It's not to say there weren't other great athletes in other great sports, and many of whom are in the LSU Athletics Hall of Fame, the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Some have gone on to win Olympic medals and do amazing things. But as far as the way that she penetrated interest, or that sport penetrated interest within the LSU fan base, it all points back to Simone Augustus. I mean, she was the linchpin of the whole thing, and then she delivered. So how many times do you see the 5-star number one player, have a good, not great career? Simone Augustus was a 2-time National Player of the Year. She became the number one pick in the draft. She won 4 WNBA titles. She won 3 gold medals. She lived up to everything. And if someone asked me what I thought the statue would be, I said, when you think of Simone Augustus, there's one thing that comes to mind. It's her elevating your elbow up with the mid-range jumper. So I thought the statue design was absolutely flawless. I'm not sure who did the statue, but the design of it was perfect, because when you think about, similar like with Pete Maravich, the pass behind his back with Simone, if you think anything other than the mid-range jumper with the elbow up, I mean, that is Simone. So congrats to her, incredibly deserving, and of course Kim Mulkey for pushing to get that done as quickly as she did. Simone, iconic and now immortalized outside of the Maravich Center, and let's hope the current Lady Tigers can go and hang another banner. All right, hour number 2 coming up next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Michele Weighing and Measurement, Michele.com, Michele.com. You know where to find them, online at Michele.com. 76 years now in business, and part of their 75th year celebration in 2022 was continue to expand their precision measurement device calibration labs, or PMD calibration labs. And so they did that, not only in Baton Rouge and in Harahan, their New Orleans office, expanding by more than 6,000 square feet. The Mobile area, locations all over the state and all over the region. If you weigh or measure something, Michele is a leader in that industry. They will sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. They do on-site calibration if that's what's more convenient for you. So often you have to ship devices around the country. Don't do that. Just call Michele. They'll come pick it up, calibrate it for you. They can do on-site calibration if that's more convenient, and then they'll return it to you. It's Michele Weighing and Measurement. ISO 17025 accreditation is available online, Michele.com.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A dust-up between a parent and a bus driver led to the bus driver's arrest. A woman claims she went to talk to the bus driver about unsafe conditions due to fog when he became irate, her arm being shut into the bus door. The sheriff arrested that driver for battery, and tonight we'll tell you what the school system has to say about it. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Start your day with news and newsmakers. Start your day with traffic, weather, and local stories that are important to you. Kickstart your day every day. Mornings with Brian Haldane from 6 to 9 a.m. Weekdays on Talk 107.3.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Cowboys and Buccaneers cap off Super Wildcard Weekend with their NFC clash on Monday Night Football. Bucs center Ryan Jensen, activated from IR, eligible to return tonight. He's been out all season with a knee injury suffered in training camp. Having Jensen back would be big for Tampa, especially for quarterback Tom Brady, says Pro Football Hall of Fame coach and NBC NFL analyst Tony Dungy.
If Ryan is totally healthy and 100%, he will make a big difference. Number one, just with his presence and that big physical body you're talking about. But number two, with the confidence factor for Tom. When I know the middle of the pocket is solid, I don't have to worry about it. I've got the guy I have trust in. When you're relaxed and confident, you're going to play much better as a quarterback.
Tony Dungy on Fitz and Harry, Monday Night Football, 8 Eastern ABC, ESPN TV, and ESPN2. Bengals left tackle Jonah Williams has a dislocated kneecap and is week to week. Guard Alex Kappa, who missed last night's AFC wildcard win over Baltimore with a knee injury, also week to week. Cincinnati at Buffalo for Sunday's divisional round game. Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud declared for the upcoming NFL Draft.
Coming up Tuesday, could Lamar Jackson really be done in Baltimore? If so, I had the perfect landing spot for the former MVP, Keyshawn J. Willimax, 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2. Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. If you have the day off, awesome. Hope you're enjoying that. Thanks for spending part of your day here with us. If you're watching on YouTube, do us a solid, smash that like button. Thanks to everybody, of course, who's joining us on WBTR, Cable 19. Actually, last week, had a conversation with someone who came out to watch T-Bob and I over at Rock Paper Taco for Scone and Tea and said, when are y'all ever going to get back on TV? I said, we are back on TV. We're on WBTR. It's Cable 19 in Baton Rouge. If you have Rev, it's channel 144. And if you're a cord cutter and you have the antenna, it's 36.1. So we appreciate WBTR. You can watch us now again in the greater Baton Rouge area. Okay. NFL Wildcard Weekend wraps up tonight. Dallas and Tampa from the Big Sombrero. I guess the former Big Sombrero. The old stadium was the Big Sombrero. That's what Berman called it, Muse. You don't remember the Big Sombrero? You remember the old Tampa Stadium? No?
Not off the top of my head, no.
So the old, before they moved into Raymond James, the old, let's see.
Big Sombrero is an awesome nickname.
Well, it was a really weird shaped stadium. Now I'm trying to pull this up very rapidly. I don't know, Paul, if you can help. Oh, here it is. Here's a good picture of it. So it was sort of like one side of it was. Why can't I enlarge this? This is so stupid. Anyway, you just pull this up, Paul. People can make sense of it. They'll be able to see it. You can see one side of the stadium sort of went up like the lip of a hat.
So, yeah.
So Berman, who had a nickname for everything, called it the Big Sombrero. So That was the old Tampa Bay Stadium before they built the new one, Raymond James, with the pirate ship and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, the new sombrero, I guess, as you may want to call it. The NFL Wildcard Weekend wraps up tonight in Tampa. Okay, enough. How about that? Will that be sufficient?
Yeah, that's better. I like that one better.
A little cleaner.
Go with that.
We'll go there.
Yeah.
But there were 5 games to be played, so let's run through the NFL Wildcard Weekend and what our takeaways were. Can we get the NFL music though instead of generic bet? I want the NFL music instead of the generic. Like that's what we did all throughout the year, right? Was that what we used? It was the NFL takeaways.
NFL primetime. Okay, I couldn't remember which one we used.
And of course,
it
if we're going to sit here and talk about Boomer with the big sombrero, then I would like the primetime music if we could.
That's true. We're getting it. We'll have it, and it's going to be great.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. There it is. All right, 5 games in the books. We'll run through a takeaway from each of them. Paulie Musso and I. Muse, start us off with the first game of the weekend, Niners taking care of the Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it's anything other than Brock Purdy, right? I mean, the guy was incredible. This kind of has Nick Foles' Philadelphia Eagles vibes to it. It's a great defense from San Francisco, obviously. And look, with Brock Purdy specifically, Seattle's up 17-16 at the break. Like, if there was a time for him to potentially falter, show that he's, mystery relevant, first ever career opportunity in the playoffs, it's coming out of that locker room down when you're a two-score favorite, and that didn't happen. They dominated the rest of the way, only 6 points for Seattle, and Brock Purdy led a great offensive day.
Someone asked if the Niners should get rid of Trey Lance, and the answer is absolutely not. Trey Lance is still on a rookie contract.
Right.
And Brock Purdy is on a rookie contract as a 7th-round pick. Brock Purdy's cap hit next year is $800,000. There is no, keep both. He's free.
Yeah.
He's free. I mean, there's no keep both. Let him compete. And then next year, you start the season with Lance most likely. And if he falters, you go to Purdy. And if he keeps going, great. Well, then you move on from Lance. But this is what we keep talking about. The Saints, this is how you rebuild your team. If you hit with a rookie, especially outside of round 1, now you've got a franchise quarterback that costs you nothing. It's how the Seahawks built around Russell Wilson. He was a 3rd-round pick. Why would you get rid of Trey Lance? Brock Purdy's free. He's free.
Jimmy G is the odd man out here.
Yeah, he's gone.
Jimmy G's the odd guy out.
Garoppolo is gone, for certain gone, because now you've got your starter and an insurance policy that's taking you through the playoffs right now. But the Foles thing, how did that work out for Foles?
Bad.
It was a flash in the pan, clearly. Second game of the weekend. Oh, Paulie. Did you watch Chargers-Jags?
I did.
The Otter and his crew gave us Jacksonville. And there were several of those that had him that had the Jags on the money line.
Ooh.
So your boy did have a money line play on Jacksonville. So I was very, very pleased with the turnaround there. Paulie, take away.
So yeah, this game proves that you can win and not win the turnover margin.
Yes.
Jacksonville turned the ball over 5 times, 4 interceptions, 3 of them in the first quarter by Trevor Lawrence.
It's brutal.
This is the first time in NFL playoff history that a team was +5 with turnover margin and lost the game. The Jaguars were down 27.
Wait, say that again? Say that again?
The first time in NFL playoff history that a team was +5 in the turnover margin and lost.
Oh, +5.
I mean, dude, that's so brutal.
4 interceptions and 1 fumble.
Oh, God.
The Chargers' win probability was as high as 98.5% after the 4th interception.
Third largest comeback in NFL playoff history.
Yes.
So the first was the Bills-Oilers from 93, that great game.
Points.
Then I remember the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs in 2013 had a game that was similar. It was like a 28-point comeback, so 27-point. And then this one, the 27-0. Incredible. How do you blow a lead? It's stunning. Anyway. How do you keep Staley? Dolphins, Bills. It's hard to win in the playoffs, man. Biggest takeaway here, Josh Allen keeps turning the ball over, man. Second in the NFL in interceptions this year. 2 more. 1 very bad interception on the game against Miami, and he fumbled twice. If Buffalo is going to realize their potential, look, this week you've got Joey B and the crew coming in, and then a potential AFC Championship game against Kansas City. It goes without saying, but Josh Allen's got to fix the turnover problem, and he hadn't been able to do that all year. I don't think he's going to. I think that's ultimately going to be Buffalo's Achilles heel. Mm-hmm. And how about Miami, as a random aside? We talked about this. Remember earlier in the year we were doing the takeaways, and this was before Tua got hurt, and we were talking about why the game with the Dolphins and the Bills was so big, because what if you ended up with a playoff game in January, and would you rather have it in Buffalo or in Miami? Well, the weather didn't really influence the game yesterday, I don't think, but still, if you're Miami, you would have rather had that game certainly at home. But Skylar Thompson accounted very well for himself in that ball game. He certainly didn't look out of place, and I don't know, man. Miami feels like they're a team right on the cusp. But if Bill's going to make it this year, Allen's got to fix his turnover problem. I don't think Canada. I think it's going to be their undoing. All right, Muse. Giants, Vikings. Oh, another pick that the Outfather in his career had. Your boy Bruce Marshall gave you Giants on the money line. How about it?
How about that? I had him plus the 3. I kind of have 2 here. First and foremost, Daniel Jones, but really Daniel Jones' legs. Like, Danny Dimes was Danny Dimes. I mean, 24 completions, 300 yards, no picks. Like, he was really good. But the 78 yards rushing, how about your boy, man? Extended plays with his legs, extended drives with his legs. How about the 20-play drive that ended in a field goal? That was kind of brutal. But
is he a franchise quarterback? Looks like it, doesn't he?
Right now he does, right? And see, that's what's so cool about it, because there was no faith. They didn't pick up his option. I mean, it looked like he was gone after this.
How much more are they going to have to pay him now?
Woo-hoo!
So for those who don't know, the Giants did not pick up Daniel Jones' 5th-year option.
Yep.
So now he's going to hit free agency a year earlier, and they're going to have to pay him. I don't know if it'll be on a multiple of what he would have gotten in a 5th-year option, but boy, he really has them by the cojones now.
Yeah, no, he does. I mean, and good for him. And look, is it as simple as Brian Daboll going in there? Maybe. Yeah, it looks like it. Also, my second one is...
Coaching matters.
My second one is Kirk Cousins. Justin Jefferson plays for your team.
Oh, my God.
He plays for your team. You grasped that really, really well the first 16 weeks of the season. But once old boy in Green Bay shut Jets down, he disappeared. You didn't target him at all week 18, and he had 7 catches yesterday in that game. He plays for your team. He's pretty darn good. That's all I got.
7 catches is a lot, though.
Nope. But when he was getting like 13 and like 150 yards a game, give him the ball more.
TJ Hawkinson was a beast yesterday.
He was pretty good.
10 for 129 for Hawkinson. All right, Paulie, Ravens, Bengals.
The Bengals proved they can win with defense.
Hey.
They did.
Hey.
Bird didn't have his best game. No. 209 yards passing, 1 touchdown. It was tied 17-17 late in the 4th quarter. Tyler Huntley kept the Ravens around until late in the 4th quarter. 2-yard line, going for the QB sneak. 98 yards later, big man touchdown.
And are we just going to ignore the horrendously blatant block in the back?
Oh, it was so bad.
What are we talking? Like,
I was yelling, "You clown! What are you doing?"
Sam Hubbard's running for a touchdown, and there was a Baltimore, I think it was Mark Andrews, the tight end, who was pursuing him, and he just gets shoved in the back. It's like, like, does that just take the drama out of the play if you don't throw the flag, or if you throw the flag? I mean,
you get that call at home, right?
It was
you
the
get
most
that call at home.
blatant push in the back. Anyway, sorry. Oh, okay. Well, you want to talk about win probability? The Ravens went from like 86. I think they showed it on the broadcast. It went from like 86% to like 47%. It was like, ooh, after that play. And then tonight, they'll wrap up Super Wildcard Weekend out at the new Sombrero. Dallas and Tampa. Dallas is a 2.5-point favorite in this ball game. Ryan Jensen really is the story. We talk all the time about centers and how bad the Tampa offensive line has been. Ryan Jensen has been sort of the literal center and figurative center of that offensive line. He was injured, tore his ACL, tore multiple ligaments in his knee. He's missed the entire season. They have activated him, so he can play tonight. We don't know if he will, but if you haven't been following along, when Jensen got hurt, Robert Hainsey, who was a college right tackle, moved to center. Hainsey was injured in Week 18, and so left guard Nick Levert slid over to center. So the long story short is Tampa's offensive line is a mess. They got a 45, 6, 7-year-old, however old Tom Brady is now, 45 years old, whatever. Like, it would be very beneficial for them to have Ryan Jensen, healthy Ryan Jensen, playing center tonight. But how healthy really can a guy be that hasn't played all year and has multiple torn ligaments? I don't know. That remains to be seen. But we'll keep an eye on Ryan Jensen tonight. That may be the most interesting storyline in this ballgame with the Giants and with the Cowboys and the Bucs tonight on Monday Night Football. 7:15 Central kick. Dallas is a 3-point favorite in that ballgame. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Got a text on the show text line earlier this weekend. It said, Matt, does Hudco do metal roofs? I have a big commercial building. We need metal roofs and gutters and all soffit work and all this stuff. I was like, yes, absolutely, we do. We'll do shingles roofs. We'll do TPO. We'll do metal. Any type of roof, residential or commercial. And if you have a big commercial job, we'd love the opportunity to bid on it. So feel free to reach out. You can reach out to me directly, Matt at HudcoRoofing.com, or you can always just go to the website, HudcoRoofing.com. That's HudcoRoofing.com. You'll see the very convenient inspection form right there on the homepage. Take you 30 seconds to fill it out. And if you'd rather talk to us, cool. Go to the website. You'll see at the top of the page, there's the phone number for Bossier, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Lafayette. So wherever you are in the state, call the phone number and get someone in the office near you. We'd love to help you out. It's Hudco Roofing, where we are the first Louisiana-based fortified roofing company to offer fortified roofs that can save you. A fortified roof can save you as much as 50%, 50% on your insurance premiums. You can learn more at HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. All right, it is After Further Review. LSU basketball got walloped on Saturday. They lost at Bama by 40. Is there any hope? We'll talk about it next.
AFR.
Cornell Toyota in Opelousas is here to help you ring in the new year with no markup, and you'll never pay over MSRP. And we have new inventory arriving daily. So Happy New Year from our Corvell Toyota family to yours.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us. And LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal, always.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Looks like the Pels are going to lose to Cleveland. Little day game action, a matinee there for the Pels. They're down 107-99 with 58 seconds to play. They led for the bulk of this game, and albeit the second half, we've been on air for basically the entire second half of this ball game. So have tried to keep an eye, but have obviously been closely watching every possession. Well, that'll do it. Oh God, that was horrible. An off-balance three by Darius Garland that rolled around the rim and went in. Okay, so the Pels are going to lose this one. So down 11 with 48 seconds to go. Yeah, that'll do. They had some chances late to get it to a two-possession game, and Jonas Valanciunas missed what would have been an and one. Went to the line for two shots, missed the first one. C.J. McCollum passed on an open look at three, and then McCollum missed a layup where it was contested. Thought he was fouled. Told the ref that he thought he was fouled, and the ref teed him up because apparently future Hall of Famers can't say words to the ref without getting teed up. But that's a disappointing loss, man. We kind of looked at this Pelicans run, and we talked about where they had 5 straight road games, then the home game against Miami, then games at Orlando, at Miami. So 7 of 8 on the road. And really the hope, I think, with that stretch was, look, could you just keep your head above water? Could you go above 500 on this road swing? And if you look at it, you lost at Dallas, you beat Washington, you lost at Boston, you beat Detroit, you're going to lose here at Cleveland, then you come home for the game against Miami, and then that's Wednesday, and then you're back on the road Friday at Orlando, Sunday at Miami, and then you have a nice 3-game home swing. So you've basically split this road trip here to this point. You have split the road trip going 2-2, and now you're gonna lose this game. You'll be at 2-3. Can you win the 2 games at Orlando and at Miami? And that'd get you back above 500 on this road trip. So a good opportunity there coming up with the home game against Miami, the trip to Orlando, then the trip to Miami to maybe get back and maybe put together a nice little win streak. To their credit, they're playing really hard. Pelicans get a bucket there. They're down 9 with 43 seconds. So they're going to have to play the foul game and see if they can somehow find a way to get back in it. But if Cleveland makes free throws here, it'll be all she wrote. But New Orleans is still in a good spot. Most importantly, though, they've just got to get healthy. I mean, I know this is something that we're sort of regurgitating a good bit now, but it's going to be a matter with this regular season of putting yourself in a position to be able to host. Hopefully, it'll be a top 4 seed, host that opening round, and put yourself in as advantageous a position as possible for the postseason when it rolls around. And hopefully you're healthy by then. You have Zion, you have B.I., you have Herb, and you're a full go, and you're healthy for the postseason. See what your best 8 or 9 can do against another team's best 8 or 9. So the Pels right now are third in the Western Conference at 26-17. They're 4 games behind Denver and 3.5 games behind Memphis. So a long way to go still, obviously, in a very long season, an 82-game season. And this is a tough stretch where you had to play 5 in a row and 7 of 8 on the road, and you're doing it without your 2 best players. But it's the nature of an 82-game season. You have streaks, and you have highs, and you have lows, and you try not to get too high with the highs and too low with the lows, and be steady and get to a position where you give yourself a chance once you hit the postseason. So Pelicans are going to play out the string here with 30 seconds to go, down 10 to Cleveland. And then they'll come home for a game against Miami on Wednesday. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. New year, new eyes. Not literally new eyes. Like, they're not going to take your eyes out and put new ones in. That would be a little grotesque. But what I mean is new eyesight. Let the Williamson Eye Center help you. No matter your age or your refractive issue, let Dr. Blake Williamson help you. Go for that free consultation and see what might be the best path for you. Maybe you had LASIK years ago. PRK could be the perfect option. That's what Hester had. Had LASIK years ago when he was playing football. Part of his eye, other parts of his eye at age had some different issues. PRK was the perfect solution. I have been nearsighted my whole life. Could barely see my hand in front of my face 5 years ago. Did LASIK at the Williamson Eye Center. Still to this day, still seeing better than 2020. Call the Williamson Eye Center. Set up that free consultation. Let your New Year's resolution be you're going to give yourself the gift of sight, and let the Williamson Eye Center help. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. LSU basketball on Saturday lost to Alabama, and they lost badly. 106-66 was your final. It was a 40-point thumping at the hands of the fourth-best team, the fourth-ranked team in college basketball. Here was Matt McMahon on the loss.
As thorough a butt kicking as I've ever been a part of. I got to give a lot of credit to Alabama. We can sit here and I'm fine to talk basketball about it. Not many positives to take away. I guess the only thing second half, at least we didn't lay down and get beat by 100. But, you look at it, we want to go through the game. We can. They start 5 of 17 from 3. We get none of those defensive rebounds. And then they go 9 of their next 10 from 3. You combine that with us going 3 of 20 from 2-point range, 15% in the first half, and that's what the game looks like.
LSU didn't shoot well. They didn't rebound well. They really didn't do anything well. And against a good team, you're going to get run. I was asked on Sunday, I was doing Morning Scone, the stream show I do every morning, if I was surprised by the result. And the answer flatly is no. No. I think when LSU started the season 11-1, and some of you had started to ask, hey, why aren't we ranked? And is LSU better than we thought? And when we kind of laid out the reality of the situation, we pointed out LSU's net rank. Despite being 11-1, LSU's net was 80. 9 of their 11 wins were against quad 4 teams. The SEC is a gauntlet. It's a very good league. LSU struggles to score outside of KJ Williams. They really struggle to shoot. This was inevitable. Like, we knew this was going to come. And the question we asked over and over and over again was, could you survive this brutal 11-game stretch? And we talked about it. When the season started, I know LSU beat Arkansas, and a lot of people were excited. Thought, hey, maybe we undervalued them a little bit. And then they had the close game against Kentucky. Well, as we've seen, Kentucky ain't great. And that Arkansas game, like we talked about, I'm not surprised LSU scored 60. I'm surprised they scored 60 and won. But Arkansas had a pretty atrocious day offensively. Give LSU credit. Their defensive buy-in has been very good for the most part this year. But this is a team that is so very flawed. But the point that I want to – there's 2 points primarily that I want to hopefully stress. Number one is it's going to get worse before it gets better this year. After you play Auburn at home this week, Auburn's ranked 16th in the country. Then you're home against 9th-ranked Tennessee. And then you're at Arkansas. You're home against Texas Tech. Then you're at Missouri, home against the Bama team that just bludgeoned you. Then you got to go to Mississippi State. Then you're home against A&M, which already beat you by double digits. Then you're at Georgia, who was supposed to be the worst team in the league, and all of a sudden look up, they're 13-4 overall and 3-1 in the league. I mean, where at the beginning of the season, my hope was this team could get to 8 league wins. Maybe they can go 8-10 and make the NIT. I think realistically now you have to wonder, can they get to 5? And I don't know if they can. It's going to get worse before it gets better. But it lightens up late. You do have South Carolina and Vandy at home. You go to Ole Miss, who is the worst team in the league. Then you get Missouri and Florida again. I think 5 would be a realistic number for this team. That's one part. It's going to get worse before it gets better. But the other part of it is, I think people have asked, is Matt McMahon the guy? I will tell you that my opinion of Matt McMahon has not changed a lick. Because I think you had to have a realistic understanding of what this season was likely going to be to not be moved emotionally by what's happening right now. Everything I've seen from Matt McMahon is validating of what Scott Woodward looks for in coaches. Detail-oriented, meticulous, good recruiters, all of that. And I think Matt McMahon is all of those things and will win here. Absolutely will win here at the highest level. It's just going to take him time because of consideration of what he inherited. It's worth mentioning again. Matt McMahon inherited a team that 2 weeks after he was hired had 0 scholarship players. Zero. So he had to hurry up and build a roster, and he built a schedule whereby they could try to have some degree of success without just getting bludgeoned. So that's why he loaded up with a whole bunch of, quad 4 games that they could actually win and not get bludgeoned and learn about their team and what they're going to be. What I'll tell you is look at what Will Wade did here as evidence of how quickly you can turn around. Will Wade did a very similar thing in year one, and that was with pre-transfer portal. JUCO guys, grad transfers. I mean, just try to put a roster together that could get him to the postseason. They did. They went to the NIT. And in year 2, he won the league. And look at what Nate Oates has done at Alabama, as evidenced by the fact that when you have a guy who knows how to recruit, that is passionate about his job, and is given the resources to succeed, he can do it. And I believe Matt McMahon will do the same. It's just not going to happen this year. I think that's the thing that and I'm not saying give up on this team and don't pay attention to him or anything like that. They're going to need all the support they can get. Just understand that this is a year where you're not going to have great success, and it's something that we've talked about. This isn't a reactionary segment because of losing by 40 at Alabama. It's just further underscoring the thing that we've been talking about since before the season started, where realistically an NIT appearance this year would be a great accomplishment for this team. It's not to say that that's the long-term goal and that's the standard that's going to be set or that's going to be acceptable. It's just in the context of this year, what is realistic? And I don't know that NIT is realistic right now unless they somehow find a way to score the ball and rebound better. And I don't know that they're going to be able to do that. So maybe the most important thing for LSU basketball in its future is look at the recruiting rankings. Let's see what kind of headway Matt McMahon will be able to make there as he continues to rebuild this roster into, hopefully, championship caliber roster again. But they are very far from that, and it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse before it gets better. All right, after further review. So the Pels do, in fact, lose 113-103 there today at Cleveland. Pels will be back at home on Wednesday against Miami. Tigers play on Wednesday at home against Auburn. All right, after further review, Colin Hurley is going to join us in 30 minutes. He's the quarterback commit for LSU's 2024 class out of the state of Florida. Looking forward to having Colin Hurley jump aboard with us. Impressive young guy, man. Every interaction I've had with him. We're looking forward to talking with him on air here in about 30 minutes from right now. Quick break. We'll come back on a Monday edition of AFR.
AFR,
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001. Today is a holiday, but no worries. If you're having an issue with your home central heater or your AC, call River City's 1 Hour Air. I tell you every day, River City's 1 Hour Air will always come out nights, holidays, weekends, and they'll never charge you extra to do so. It's River City's 1 Hour. There's no catch. That's the promise that they made. Their exceptional customer service, their above and beyond approach for all of their customers is why they've been around for 40 years. It's why they have double the amount of 5-star Google reviews of the next closest competitor. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with a giant clock on the side. You can't miss them. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Give them a buzz at 752-0001, 752-0001. Remember, they are hiring as well. If you would like a career instead of a job, call River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Bayou Ford has $4,000 off.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
These are golf shoes.
What are you doing? You're live on air.
Are we back?
Yeah. What are you doing over there?
I was checking the Nike drop.
Oh, Lord. You can wait until Thursday.
I just got the notification reminding me. I'll be so good. And then I just went down the rabbit hole. I'm just scrolling the feed. This is so addicting. When you just scroll. Paul, would you please tell him? Like, Paul, isn't this addicting?
It really is.
Thank you. It's so true.
Paul can't even find a pair of his sneakers.
Well, Paul was moving his daughter into her room, and you lost your dunks. That's your problem. Oh, look at these. Oh, never mind. Those are big kids. That's the thing that tricks me, because I don't do a filter so I can look at all of them. And then sometimes it's like you click on it, you love it. It's like, oh, it's a big kid shoe. You know what I mean? It's like they don't have it in like kid sizes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, like when it's a baby shoe, you could tell when it's like just
it's a little small, there. Yeah.
But when you're just looking at a 2D picture of a shoe, you can't tell what size it is. But like I really like those a lot. That's fire. Maybe I'll get those for Drew. Okay. Anyway, so Sports Business Journal put this out over the weekend. The NFL saw its attendance during the 2022 season increase. Now, look, the total attendance cumulative was 18.8 million. That's the highest ever. It makes sense because, well, now you're playing 17 games, right? So you had more games. So the cumulative attendance was going to be higher. But the average attendance per game for the NFL this year was 69,442. That is the highest mark since 2016. The Lions, by the way, led all teams with a 23% average attendance increase. No surprise. They've been the butt crack of the NFL for a long time, and all of a sudden they got good, and they were fun to watch and scored a lot of points and won a lot of games, so good for them. The Lions are very likable. Who would have thought, but it's true. And I think sometimes we see that, and we just sort of default and go, well, the NFL is just a better product than college football. That's why attendance is what it is. Or some people say, well, the NFL is just big cities, so you have more people with more money, a larger fan base to draw from. Neither of those things is true. I would actually argue to the contrary, that in the big cities, while yes, you have a larger population base, you also have much more to do, and not everyone is a fan of the sports teams. And in college towns, by and large, we know this here in Baton Rouge or in other college towns, the towns shut down on game days. It is the thing that matters when it happens. The biggest difference, what do you think it is? What do you think is the biggest difference when it comes to college or NFL attendance? Because listen, the average ticket price for an NFL game is higher. It costs more to park. It costs more to go to the concession stand. All that stuff. Everything costs more. So the cost argument doesn't hold water. All that. Do you want to know the biggest difference? Why in an era where more and more people are choosing to stay home because the home viewing experience is so good? Why NFL attendance is going up and college campuses are fighting this issue with more and more people staying home? Like LSU, I'll just use them for example because they're right here. The only time LSU will ever put 102,000 butts in seats ever again is Alabama or Garth Brooks. Like, that's it. You're never putting 102,000 in there again. It's not a knock on LSU. That's symptomatic everywhere where you have 100,000 seat stadiums. You want to know why? It's because in college football, a quarter of your schedule is trash. That's the difference. In the NFL, every Sunday, you're playing an NFL team. In college football, 3 of your home games are a steaming pile of dung that nobody wants to see. Nobody wants to see LSU play New Mexico or UAB. Or as funny as it might be to make the shark humping jokes when Central Michigan comes in here, no one wants to see Yellow Teeth. It ain't good. It's not a good product. The only reason people go is because of their allegiance and loyalty to the school. It's not just an LSU thing. It's everywhere. If you play 8 conference games and 4 non-conference games, and your 4 non-conference games are trash, or 3 of your 4 non-conference games are trash, I should say, then 3 out of your 12 games on your schedule, a quarter of your schedule is trash, is garbage that nobody wants to watch. That's why your attendance is affected. And in the NFL, every game is still against an NFL team, and every game could provide great theater. Could. Doesn't always, but could provide great theater. That's what college football has to fix. I know there's a lot of people bemoaning the expansion of the college football playoff. That's a great thing for college football. To actually have, when we get into November and December, you're going to have meaningful games on college campuses between two very good football teams. That's what college football needs more of and less of all the hot trash that nobody wants to watch. South Alabama's coming into Bryant-Dennehy Stadium. Yippee. Eastern Kentucky against Florida. Why? That's the problem college football has. And I know a lot of you right now are brainwashed, and you're going to go, well, you need those tune-up games to get things right. What if you had one of those before you played Florida State? Or what if nobody played them? You'd be better off. It would be a better product. But the powers that be in college football look at the gate receipts and want those body bag games because it's a money grab. It's not about competitive balance or anything. It's not about providing a great product for you. It's actually taking advantage of you and your loyalty, knowing you're still going to pay for your season ticket package to watch that garbage game, or even if you don't go, you're just going to eat the cost so you can get your tickets to the games you actually want to see. But that's why. That's why the NFL is seeing its attendance going up, and college football is fighting that battle right now with people not showing up to games. Eventually, you hit them in the pocketbook hard enough, they'll make changes. I mean, that's ultimately what it would come down to if they ever get there. It'll help when the SEC goes to 9 conference games. SEC will go to 9 conference games. You're going to contract one of those awful games nobody wants to see. Everyone's schedule will get better, and you will see, I'll make that prediction. When the league expands and you go to 9 conference games, you will see attendance increase because you're going to have an additional conference game and one fewer garbage game that nobody wants to see. That's the problem. That's why the NFL is going up, and that's why college football attendance is going down. Okay, it's after further review. You still have Tigers and the pros to wrap up hour number 2. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Colin Hurley, future LSU quarterback, the commitment for 2024. He's with us in 15 minutes from right now. Glad you're here. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Lots of ways that you can go by and see our friends over at Clegg's Nursery, any of the 4 locations. Get on by, and if you have any questions, ask the friendly folks in the blue shirts. They have great horticulturists there that can answer all of your questions for you. It is a great time to plant trees and shrubs. Not citrus trees, but other fruit trees and shade trees, things like plum or pear trees. Great time of year to plant right now over at Clegg's Nursery. They have the inventory to help. Great winter plants for your garden as well. And flowers, you want to add that pop of color during the colder, grayer times of the year. You can still add some color to your landscape, and Clegg's Nursery can help. Any of their 4 locations, and remember, Clegg's is partnered with True Value Hardware Store, so anything you'd find at a True Value Hardware Store, you can also find at Clegg's Nursery. So buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A dust-up between a parent and a bus driver led to the bus driver's arrest. A woman claims she went to talk to the bus driver about unsafe conditions due to fog. When he became irate, her arm being shut into the bus door. The sheriff arrested that driver for battery, and tonight we'll tell you what the school system has to say about it. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications. The powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution. A network built for every possibility. Moving faster than ever before. Streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Miller Lite has more taste and only one more calorie.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Both those are tomorrow. 9 a.m. I got to notify. Paul, do you like these? They're true blue, white, and cement gray. They're Jordan 1 lows. What do you think, Paulie? You can't see that. I'll have to send it to you.
Can't see it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so it's I like them a lot. I think I'll probably get those tomorrow. Yeah. Muse,
I like that color combo though.
Yeah. What do you like, Muse?
What do you mean? I mean, I'm not a big sneaker guy. I wear some Nike tennis shoes. Call it a day. I mean, I have on Zoom Pegasus.
How much more time we got?
I don't know. You want me to do Tigers and Throws?
No, till we come out.
No, we're back. Yeah.
You have to tell me.
I did. I turned your mic on and pointed to you like I do every single time we come back.
That's not telling me anything.
It normally works.
How about Matt? 1 minute. How about, hey, Matt, 1 minute?
I do that too normally.
No, never. Actually.
That's not true at all.
Paulie, does he ever give me 1 minute?
Maybe once a show.
Thank you, Paul.
Maybe.
No, not once a show.
Once a show.
What are you talking about? Once a show.
Maybe once a show.
That's
normally what I get is, this is us. Like we're in the bump, and you go, this is us.
That is not
Paulie,
true.
Is that what happens?
That's true.
Thank you. All right, Muse. Do Tigers in the Pros so I can look at shoes. Ooh, these are good too. Paulie, look.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Alrighty, let's run through yesterday's wild card and Saturday's wild card for what it's worth. We'll start Chargers and Jags. 3 LSU players on the defensive side of the ball. Let's go Braden Fehoko first in LA. 3 total tackles for the 2019 national champion. 2 of those were solo. On the other sideline, you had Kayvon Chason and Arden Key. Each of them logged 1 tackle in the game. Arden Key with a pass defense as well.
In fairness, he didn't actually defend that pass. It hit him in the helmet.
Hey, it goes down on the stat sheet
It goes in the stat
as a pass defense.
It literally doinked off his helmet.
Hey, and you know what? When it doinks off a receiver's helmet, he gets credited for a drop. He didn't drop it. It hit him in the head.
I mean, he just hit him right in the helmet.
Right place, right time, Matt. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Duke Riley for the Miami Dolphins.
Big play, too. It was like at the 10-yard line.
Yeah, no, it was late in the game as well. 2 tackles yesterday for Duke Riley. Tre'Davious White for the Buffalo Bills had 2 tackles, 1 of those solo, and he defensed 2 passes as well. Giants Vikings. Justin Jefferson was a 1 of 1 for -2 yards in the passing game. It was a throwback on a 3rd and 1 to Kirk Cousins. Absolutely horrendous play call. He also had 7 receptions off of 10 targets for 47 yards, was MIA in the 4th quarter. Patrick Peterson, 5 tackles in the game, all 5 of those solo. Danielle Hunter stuffs the stat sheet nicely. 4 total tackles, a sack, a TFL, and an extra hit on the quarterback. For the Baltimore Ravens, Patrick Queen, 6 tackles. That's 3rd on the team last night. 4 of them were solo. 1 of them was a tackle for a loss. And offensively for the Bengals, Joey B, 23 completions, 209 yards, and a score. Ran for 9 yards and another score. Jamar Chase, 9 receptions, 84 yards, and a touchdown. NBA action yesterday, Tari Eason, an 11-point effort, 5 of 6 shooting in 20 minutes off the bench, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, a block, and 2 assists. Rockets lost to the Clippers. And Ben Taylor, his second career top 5 finish at the Sony Open yesterday, finished at 14 under par, 4 shots off the lead, or off the eventual winner, I should say. And I took home $332,000 and some change yesterday. So tip of the hat to Ben Taylor. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. For Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gentlemen, thrill her with a gift in the red box from our friends at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, a great community partner, so interwoven into the fabric of our community for 40 years. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. LSU quarterback commit Colin Hurley after SportsCenter.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Mold Zero USA. Mold0USA.com. Mold-0USA.com. You deserve to live and work in a mold-free environment. If you have or think you might have mold in your home, call Mold Zero. If your place of business has mold, call Mold Zero. We're not talking about cutting sheetrock. We're talking about minimal disruption. They'll come in, they'll spray their patented, non-toxic, dry fog. You let that fog dwell. It'll kill all the mold, including the spores. And as soon as that fog dissipates, you can go back into your home, your office, completely mold-free, fresh-smelling and clean. Not just kills mold, but dozens of other pathogens. You can read the performance study from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. It's at the website. They have a video testimonial there as well. Learn more at mold-0USA.com. Again, it's mold-0USA.com. For Mold Zero, mold-0USA.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $7,500 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. New 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $7,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Cowboys and Buccaneers cap off Super Wildcard Weekend with their NFC clash on Monday Night Football. Bucs center Ryan Jensen, activated from IR, eligible to return tonight. He's been out all season with a knee injury suffered in training camp. Having Jensen back would be big for Tampa, especially for quarterback Tom Brady, says Pro Football Hall of Fame coach and NBC NFL analyst Tony Dungy.
If Ryan is totally healthy and 100%, he will make a big difference. Number one, just with his presence and that big physical body you're talking about. But number two, with the confidence factor for Tom. When I know the middle of the pocket is solid, I don't have to worry about it. I've got the guy I have trust in. When you're relaxed and confident, you're going to play much better as a quarterback.
Tony Dungy on Fitz and Harry, Monday Night Football, 8 Eastern ABC, ESPN TV, and ESPN2. Bengals left tackle Jonah Williams has a dislocated kneecap and is week to week. Guard Alex Kappa, who missed last night's AFC wildcard win over Baltimore with a knee injury, also week to week. Cincinnati at Buffalo for Sunday's divisional round game. Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud declared for the upcoming NFL Draft.
Coming up Tuesday, could Lamar Jackson really be done in Baltimore? If so, I had the perfect landing spot for the former MVP, Keyshawn J. Willimax, 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time for those of you working today like we are. Glad you're driving home with us. Thanks for hanging out here on AFR. LSU football got great news for the class of 2024. Quarterback Colin Hurley out of the state of Florida. He reclassified, committed to the Tigers. And, man, if you do not follow Colin on social media, you should. Really engaging young guy. He's on Twitter at Colin Hurley, 1L. Y'all give him a follow. He joins us now for a couple of minutes. Colin, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Man, doing fantastic. I think the most maybe the most interesting question most people want to know is about reclassifying. Like, I was certainly not a smart enough guy to like skip a year of high school. How in the world are you able to pull this off, man, to reclassify and graduate a year early?
No, as far as LSU, no, it was definitely a blessing. You know, this honestly first started whenever I first visited LSU a year ago. It was a cold, rainy night. On Friday, we were going up there actually for a 7-on-7 tournament. And we pulled in Friday at 9:30 p.m. And that's whenever I met Coach Sloan, and we spent 4 hours together that night, just watching film, going over whiteboard work, getting to know him. And we actually ended up locking the facility down at 1:30 in the morning. So we did a lot of stuff. We talked about their offense, my offense that I do, a family, And I really felt like that relationship really started to hit off there. And I ended up going to LSU 5 more times for camps, visits, and games. LSU visited me at my high school 4 times, and there was just a lot of mutual interest, and the interactions were just amazing. LSU never stopped recruiting me, and I really felt like I connected well with Coach Sloan, Coach Denbrock, and also the head coach, Coach Kelly. I also connected well with the LSU recruiting staff as well. Who honestly works very hard and that honestly doesn't stop working to go out there and recruit the best guys. And I really felt like my decision to go to LSU was a great one. I really feel like LSU is going to develop me and prepare me for the next level. I feel like my relationship with the coaching staff is amazing. I really see growth in the program. Having Coach Kelly get there first season in the SEC and take them to a 10-win season, make it to a Pro Bowl, making it to the SEC championship. That's big time. Last year LSU didn't do so great, and you saw that he came in here and took over and beat very good teams like Alabama. That's not an easy team to beat. I really feel like this team's on the upside, and I feel like we're going to be contending for a national championship very soon. But as far as reclassifying, I was doing this very privately and didn't really want to let anyone know. I feel like the 25 class is strong, but the 24 class is definitely special. And that's where I wanted to be, honestly. My top 7 schools, they all evaluated me against 24s, and they loved me as a 25 and 24. LSU was honestly the first to jump on it. And they told me to come to Baton Rouge and be a Tiger. And I knew since the first time I met Coach Sloan that this is the place for me. And I knew that this was honestly going to be the place that I'd end up at. And I'm very happy with my decision. I really feel like LSU is the best place for me. And it was honestly a special moment whenever I committed because, we won the Alabama game in that crazy 2-point conversion. Honestly, that was the best moment of my life. And I'm so blessed to be in this, to have this opportunity to be playing at the next level for a special team like LSU.
Man, there's a lot of people excited to hear from you. Let's talk a little bit about you as a player. If I asked you to describe how you play the game, like how would you describe your approach and how you play the game of football?
Honestly, I go out there and I play the game with no regrets. I love football, and I love what it helps me to do on and off the field. But honestly, I go out there, have fun, play with no regrets. I go out there and compete. I play for a great head coach, Coach Verlin Dormany. He's 32 years at Trinity Christian, and he's had 9 state championships in the program. And playing for him, he sets the expectations very high. He coaches us very hard, but he really teaches us life lessons so we can succeed outside of football. He's preparing us for life, and he's just a great coach to play for. I wouldn't trade him for anyone else. I love Coach Dormany, and it's honestly very special to be playing in a high school like Trinity Christian. I really feel like it's preparing me for the next level.
Colin Hurley is our guest. You'll follow him on Twitter at Colin Hurley, 1L in Colin, LSU 2024 quarterback commit. I mentioned you're obviously a guy who you're pretty active on social media. You certainly have got LSU splashed all over your Twitter. What have your interactions been like with the LSU fan base? How have you been received?
Baton Rouge and LSU fan base have been great. I love the city. It's a great place with hardworking people, great food, definitely, culture, the character, and honestly a fan base that loves LSU football. The fan base was very welcoming during all of my visits, and on social media, they were going crazy. And I definitely saw their passion during the tailgating that I did for the Alabama game. That was definitely crazy. And Death Valley was honestly unforgettable. There's no place like it. It was amazing, and I can't wait to play there on Saturdays and enjoy that experience to be on that field, knowing that I was one time a person in the stands watching the game. So I'm honestly super excited.
Yeah, Colin, what about you mentioned Coach Sloan, and that's a great story, man, about getting here at 9:00 at night and then shutting the building down at 1:30 in the morning. What about the rest of the staff? Have you had much interaction with Coach Kelly, with Coach Denbrock, the rest of the LSU staff?
Yeah, I talk to them every week or 2 weeks. My relationship with the coaching staff was honestly one of the main reasons why I committed to LSU. I value and respect relationships, and there was a lot of schools who had formed a good relationship with me, but LSU and the staff there really connected best with me. And I knew that this was the place for me. They never stopped recruiting me, and I mean the entire staff, the recruiting department, quarterback coach, offense coordinator, head coach, every position coach, they're all going after me. Coach Kelly and I speak weekly, and I speak with Coach Sloan and Coach Denbrock even more often. I probably speak with Coach Sloan almost every day. And those conversations are deep and serious. We speak about the details about LSU's offense and the development. And I'm preparing the program right now, so I'm nicely developed once I get on campus. So,
Colin, I wanted to also ask about you mentioned obviously Trinity and being part of an historic program there. A lot of guys also do training, on their own as well. Do you do a lot of that, working out with like a quarterback coach or another development team outside of your outside of the high school football program as well?
No, I do. I'm super blessed to have a really great team around me. Dr. Tom Grimelli is the architect of my total portfolio. He really runs it all for me. He's the reason why I honestly am who I am today. He's brilliant. He has an extensive understanding of the throwing process and motions. And he works with high-level college and professional throwers, both in baseball and football. I also have Coach Hewlett. He's one of the most well-known QB developers in the country. His style is different than most. He tells me to be an operator, and he honestly allows for more feedback from me and see what I'm feeling throughout throws, drops, and all of that. I really take an active role in my throwing sessions, and that's honestly a great thing that he does that, because he manages it differently, and it really helps me as a quarterback to know what I'm feeling and know what I have to work on.
Colin Hurley, hey man, before you go, one more. When I check out your Twitter, you always have this graphic, where to go, and I would presume that's you holding the championship trophy, and you kind of I would assume you're using that sort of as a recruiting tool for the rest of your class. How active are you in trying to kind of be a Pied Piper and getting other recruits to jump in on the class of 2024?
No, I'm super active recruiting. I go after the 23s, 24s, and 25s. I go after the guys that want to be a Tiger, that I know will make a difference in the program on and off the field. I work with the LSU coaching staff a little bit to go get the right guys, go get the guys that we need. I'm we need that. It's a team effort, and we're all going to need to be a part of it so we can go out there and win a national championship in a couple of years.
Man, I have a feeling after talking to you for 10 minutes and listening to our audience here and you talk for 10 minutes, the excitement level about you coming to Baton Rouge is probably about to just go through the roof.
I know, I'm super excited. It's going to be a great time. I can't wait.
Y'all follow him on Twitter, at Colin Hurley, LSU 2024 quarterback commit. Man, look, I know you got a busy schedule with school and training and everything, and it's after 6 o'clock in the evening there in Florida. So thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes to join us, man. Best of luck to you. We'll look forward to catching up again soon down the line.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on the show.
It's our pleasure. That's Colin Hurley, LSU 2024 quarterback commit. Wow.
It was good.
I have hosted this show for almost 13 years.
Yeah.
February 17th will be 13 years.
Opening day.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, that is the best interview ever with a high school athlete. The only thing that would even approach it, Miles Brennan was great. Another quarterback, incidentally. And I interviewed Russell Shepard before I had this job. That was at the Score 1210. So if you want to go back even to doing sports since 2007, we're talking 16 years. Yeah, he's the best one ever. Not that because you can do an interview, it means you're going to be an All-American quarterback or anything like that. But certainly the polish, the ability to communicate, the ability to lead. I get why they offered that kid. And I don't worry about him reclassifying at all. That's as mature a 16-year-old as I've literally I've ever heard on the radio. I mean, that kid is a high school sophomore. He's a high school sophomore. Wow. That was massively impressive. Okay, y'all go follow that kid on Twitter. At Colin Hurley. Go follow him on Twitter and thank him for coming on the show, please. At Colin Hurley, ColinHurley. Okay, he's at 7,796 Twitter followers. Like, we'll certainly get him. Like, can we get him over 8,000 followers? Can we get that kid another 200 followers before the end of the show?
That shouldn't be hard. If you heard that interview, that should not be hard.
Follow that kid on Twitter. What are y'all doing? Like, I'm going to go tweet that too right now. Go follow him on Twitter. All right. It's after further review. From the preps to the pros, Sean Payton was on the Herd earlier today with Colin Cowherd and gave some insight into his process to coaching next year and what it's going to take for him and for the Saints. You'll hear from Sean Payton next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Cornwall Toyota in Opelousas is here to help you ring in the new year with no markups, and you'll never pay over MSRP. And we have new inventory arriving daily. So Happy New Year from our Corvell Toyota family to yours.
Three people walk into a bar. The first two order the same old margs. The third, Nuevo Topo Chico Margarita Hard Seltzer. Crafted with real lime juice and the crisp tequila flavor. Topo Chico Margarita Hard Seltzer.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications. The powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution. A network built for every possibility. Moving faster than ever before. streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Colin Hurley picked up 50 followers in the commercial break. Let's get that kid over 8,000 before the end of the show. Go follow him on Twitter at Colin Hurley. That's the LSU 2024 quarterback commit. He's at 7839 on Twitter. Let's get him over 8,000 before the end of the show. I know y'all could do it. And especially, by the way, I know a lot of last week's conversation revolved around Walker Howard and him jumping in the transfer portal. I know this weekend Walker visited Ole Miss, which I was told that visit went exceptionally well. TCU also in the mix. And there was some scuttle that he was going to visit Florida today. I'm working to get that confirmed. But as we talked about last week, there's a strong relationship there with Billy Napier and the Howards. So Walker is making his visits and he'll make his decision. But that obviously, and we wish Walker luck. I mean, you'd hate for him to compete against LSU and that for all those reasons we talked about last week. But it underscores the importance of LSU's future at the quarterback position in supplementing behind Garrett Nussmeier now and Ricky Collins, who, by the way, is one of the early enrollees today. So the class of 2023 quarterback Ricky Collins is on campus. So you got 3 quarterbacks on campus. And then next year, of course, Colin Hurley will be here. So, I mean, that's a guy who's sort of the next, right, in line. Go give him a follow. I would love to see if we can get that follower count up on him before the end of the show today. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you aboard with us here. The Sean Payton conversation is dominating a lot of the coaching carousel in this coaching cycle in the NFL. We know he's already got interviews scheduled with Denver, Houston, and Carolina, and Denver is first tomorrow on Tuesday. And Carolina is the latest to formally be granted permission, also Arizona. But Carolina is the latest to be granted permission. And by all accounts, it looks like the Chargers are not going to part ways with Brandon Staley, and so that means that's one fewer potential suitor for Sean Payton. Well, Payton was a guest on The Herd with Colin Cowherd today on Monday, and talked about sort of the process that's unfolding. First, he did talk about the 3 interviews this week, Denver, Houston, and Carolina.
I'll have a chance to visit prior to then. Like, I've talked with a few teams. Mm-hmm. That's just done through permission with the Saints. But I think this week would be Houston, Denver, later in the week, Carolina.
He did say, by the way, he's going to speak with Carolina in New York. He'll interview with Mr. Tepper, the Carolina owner, up in New York City. It's where they'll meet, so he'll go coast to coast. The other thing that's interesting that Sean Payton and Cowherd got into was about compensation, both for Sean Payton and for the Saints. Like, one of the things that seems like will keep the Chargers on the sideline is the fact that they're paying Brandon Staley $4 million a year. The report last week from Mike Florio is that Sean Payton's going to command north of $20 million, between $20 and $25 million per year. Are the Chargers willing to pay a 5X to their next coach? I know Carolina will. I mean, Tepper just paid a buttload of money to Matt Rule and then is going to pay him $60 million not, or $30 million not to coach the team, whatever the number is. He's got money, he's willing to spend it. Denver, Walmart money, they're going to spend. So there's teams that are willing to spend. But what about the Saints' compensation? It was interesting because Sean Payton was pretty candid here that he's talked about this with Mickey Loomis.
We haven't even met yet, so that's probably something. Well, no, that's something that comes up later in the process. But being that I haven't interviewed with any of these people yet, it would just be speculating. I think each team would be a little different. Mickey Loomis and I have talked already about it. I think ultimately the compensation for the Saints would be a mid or later first-round pick. Now, we can arrive at that in a lot of different ways. Each team's got different ammo or different pick selections, and it could be a future one maybe where you have to throw in something. It's probably this year, it would probably be a mid to late first-round pick, I would say.
So a mid to late one. That would, if it were this year, again, and Sean Payton talked, he said, I believe the way he said it is, we can arrive at that at multiple different ways. Maybe it's future picks. Maybe it's multiple picks. But if it's a mid to late first rounder, that would seemingly take a place like Arizona out of the running if they weren't willing to part with the 3rd pick in the draft. Houston not only has the 2nd pick, but they have the 12th pick as well. So that might be something more palatable for Houston. Speaking of Houston, of the jobs discussed, Houston is by far the worst situation. Back-to-back years, they fired a coach after 1 year. They traded their franchise quarterback, Deshaun Watson, to Cleveland. So you got no quarterback. You've got a dysfunctional system. It's just been a mess in Houston. They've just missed a ton. So they asked Payton, is Houston even like a serious consideration?
Absolutely. Here's why. I think I know the ownership group, not very well, but we practiced against the Texans in New Orleans 4 or 5 different times. So Cal McNair, his late father, we'd see them, and so I don't know them well, but I know them. When you practice for 3 days with an opponent, you get a chance to meet a lot of the different personalities and people involved in the building. They've got really good draft capital. They're in a division that you can at least look at and say, all right, Indy, Tennessee, Jacksonville is nothing, but you can at least. So I think there's growth potential immediately there from their 2 or 3 wins that they had this year.
I don't know that anybody would go into a negotiation of any sort and just voluntarily remove any bit of leverage. If you tell someone you're not actually a candidate, then you remove any potential bargaining chip you would have with somebody else. I don't know that Sean Payton has any reason to lie right now, though. That's the other thing. It's one thing when you're a coach and you're very quick. It'll be very interesting when Sean Payton does get back into coaching, if the way he handles media or anything along those lines changes as a result of his year in media. But when he was as a coach, Sean Payton was very coy. He didn't really disclose much. When you're in this job, you get paid to be honest. You get paid to give opinions. You have to be more open. And so I'm curious. So I believe him doing the interview there with Colin when he says, is Houston a legit contender? I believe him when he says absolutely. And I think a lot of it will come down to money and compensation and all the things that may play out. And as a Saints fan, I'm hoping Sean Payton does end up in the AFC. I would rather him in the AFC than the NFC, where if you ever did see him in the postseason, it would only be in the Super Bowl, and the odds of that happening are astronomical. So I would much rather him not be in the division in Carolina, where you'd have to face him twice a year. But if that's going to be the best offer, like if Carolina is going to give the Saints the 9th pick, then of course you do that deal. But we'll see where it goes inevitably. But the other thing, too, that was interesting was Sean Payton did talk about the significance of the interview process. Like, how much does it actually matter to go through the interview process when these people know Sean Payton? They know his resume, as he's been a head coach for a decade and a half.
Each team would be just like we're having that discussion. There'd be pros, and that's the significance, though, of the upcoming week or two of meeting some of these individuals, asking some questions, maybe some difficult questions, and trying to get answers so that we're not having difficult questions when you've already taken the job.
It makes a lot of sense. Gives you a little bit of a glimpse into how the entire process goes along. So, again, Sean Payton will interview with Denver on Tuesday. That'll be the first of his interviews of 4 that he has scheduled with Denver, Houston, Carolina, and Arizona, the 4 that have requested and been granted permission to interview Sean Payton. It's I hope, I don't think I'm overstating this, and I think you might agree. What happens with Sean Payton is, I believe, the single biggest question the Saints have to answer this offseason. Because ultimately, that will speak to what type of asset or assets the Saints have to bring in a quarterback. So, as far as the roster, what do you do at quarterback is clearly the biggest question. But you can't really adequately answer that question until you find out what happens with Sean Payton, so you know what assets you have to be able to try to use those to get a potential franchise quarterback. I got a Twitter from a question on Twitter from Steve Farmer. You can always tweet me at Matt Moscona. And Steve said, Matt, is there something more to Sean Payton and the Saints' separation than Sean's burnout or stress? Seems pretty anxious to get back into coaching. Did everybody get along on Airline Drive? Yes, they did. And Steve, I'll point this out again, and I will give bouquets where they're due. But, and I readily understand not everybody listens to every minute of every show every day. But I'm here for 3 hours a day, every day, and have been for a long time. And for 10 years, 12 years, every Thursday for an hour, Mike Detillier came on this show. And every Thursday, for more than a decade, I heard Mike Detillier hammer into my brain for a very long time that Sean Payton is not going to be a coaching lifer. He's from the Bill Parcells tree. He's going to leave. Look at what Parcells did. He was at the Giants, won Super Bowls, left, went into TV, went back into coaching, Jets, Patriots, Cowboys. He'd be in and out and in and out. And you can see Sean Payton following a very similar path, and he'll probably find his way somewhere in the front office. So when Sean Payton left last year, it wasn't surprising. One of his best friends in the business is Mickey Loomis. He had the complete and utter trust of ownership. He had full reign to do what he wanted, and the organization was in many respects his. Because he had the autonomy from ownership and working hand in hand with one of his best friends. There was nothing wrong, but Sean Payton was at a point in his life where he'd been in New Orleans for 16 years. He had gone through the Bounty Gate thing. They had a lot of dramatic playoff losses. He was divorced, remarried, and it was a time where he wanted to step out. And then I think you step out and he realized how much he missed it. And so he recharges and get back in. There's nothing more to that story there. That's it. But this was always, I think, something to be expected, that Sean Payton would get out and would get back in, whether it was a year or two or whatever. So I think that context matters an awful lot with Sean Payton. So, no, I don't think there was anything wrong there. I think it was just the manifestation of what we always assumed would happen with Sean Payton his time in New Orleans. All right, it's after further review. let's see. I want to check Colin Hurley's Twitter account. Or he's at 7870. So we're 128 followers away for Colin Hurley. Let's see if we can get LSU's 2024 quarterback commit over 8,000 before the end of the show. So if you're on Twitter and you haven't yet followed Colin Hurley, go do it on Twitter at Colin Hurley, 1L at Colin Hurley. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, we'll give you a little primer on Bucs Cowboys, the final game of Wild Card Weekend. Otter locks in a little more than 10 minutes from right now. Jimmy and his crew 5-0 this weekend against the spread for the NFL playoffs. Can they make it a perfect 6-0 with tonight's ball game? We'll get Otter's pick coming up in just a bit. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Of course, the early enrollees are on campus now for the Tigers, and the G team continues to grow. You can learn more about all of the Get Gordon athletes, both the Tigers and all the other schools around the state, at Get Gordon on all the social media accounts, at Get Gordon. Of course, we encourage you to go for the best 225 and nominate Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys for Best Law Firm and the Best of 225 as well. We tell you every day, get Gordon and get it done. For 30 years, for 3 decades, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys has helped injured people in the state of Louisiana. If you've been hurt, it's not your fault. You need representation. Don't go it alone. Let my friends at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys help. We say it every day. Get Gordon and get it done. There's so many great ways that they reach out to the community, from their 500 bike giveaway to all their ambassador athletes through the G team. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ATEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal.
after further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
This is a veteran football team that's played a lot of footballs, played a lot of playoff football. So obviously division champ, former Super Bowl champ. So they obviously bring that to the table. But it's playoff football. I mean, the only thing we're guaranteed is 4 quarters to go win and move on to the next round.
That is Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. Final game of Super Wildcard Weekend tonight on Monday Night Football. It is the Cowboys at the Bucs. Brady and the Bucs, we'll see if they get Ryan Jensen back for the ball game tonight, which is just, I think, a massive storyline in this one. These two teams did play back in week 1, as you recall. And here was Todd Bowles talking about the difference in playing the Cowboys from week 1 to now.
No, we're changed. We're a different team. I can't speak for them yet. I haven't dove into the film, getting in to watch them, but they're talented, and you watch some highlights here and there. They got talent all over the field. From our standpoint, I think we're mentally tougher. We're into the grind of the season, so to speak, and everybody kind of knows their roles have kind of panned out since week 1. So we'll watch some tape and we'll get to work on them.
By the way, week 1 was a 19-3 win for Tampa. And that was a game in Dallas. So it was the Bucs defense which sort of ruled the day back in week 1. And if Tampa's going to win, you would assume it's going to have to be on the back of that defense again tonight. So we'll see how it goes. The other thing of consequence, and as we continue to talk about the Sean Payton sweepstakes, we have, for years, there has long been this assumption that Sean Payton is going to go back to Dallas and coach the Cowboys, that Jerry Jones will covet him, that he'll pay for him. Sean Payton has a home in Dallas. He was the coordinator there. We all know the story by now. But Jerry Jones was on 105.3 The Fan and was pretty definitive when talking about Mike McCarthy's job as it relates to this game against Tampa tonight.
Could anything happen in this playoff game Monday that could put Mike McCarthy's job status in question for next year?
No. I don't even want to. No. That's it. I don't need to go into all the pluses or minuses, but we're not seeing any. We're not basing. I've got a lot more to evaluate Mike McCarthy on than this playoff game.
Jerry Jones didn't get any younger. He's obviously pushing for championships. And has been for a long time, and hadn't been able to push over that hump. Sean Payton is I think we would agree, a better head coach than Mike McCarthy. Interestingly enough, they did win Super Bowls in back-to-back years. Sean won it in 2009. McCarthy won it in 2010 in Green Bay. McCarthy had a long, successful run in Green Bay alongside Aaron Rodgers, but never got back to the Super Bowl. That's a lot of winning seasons. Maybe it's fair to post them side by side and say how would that shape out, but. Tonight, Bucs, Cowboys, Monday Night Football, final game of Super Wildcard Weekend. Should Tampa win, they would head on a jet plane to take on the 49ers in Santa Clara. That's a very unenviable thing. We talked about this last week with Paul Nolan with there being Monday Night Football. And think about this. If Tampa does win this game tonight, think about what they would have to do. Short week across the country to take on the 49ers. Really unenviable spot. Niners would have extra rest having played on Saturday, and the Bucs would have to, on short rest, go across the country to play San Francisco. Like, even if the teams were equal, I wouldn't favor Tampa in that spot. But that may be, if that matchup does play out, and that's going to be the final game of the divisional round, which it'll be the late game at 5:30 Central on Sunday. But think about it, San Fran would have had an extra day's rest, and then the Bucs would have or Dallas, but Bucs in particular, flying across the country, would have 1 day fewer. It just that sets up beautifully for San Francisco to win their divisional round game and punch their ticket to the NFC Championship game. All right, it's after further review. Been a really good show, brought to you by Relief Windows. Windows door siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank and vinyl siding. You know where to find them. They're online at Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. 2 other things that I wanted to get to that we're just flat running out of time, and it ended up, for a holiday show, today ended up being a pretty busy day, But two things I didn't really get to. C.J. Stroud did jump into the draft today. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what that means for the quarterback situation for the Saints as they're looking to draft a quarterback. We'll maybe get to some of that tomorrow. The other thing that is newsworthy, if you have not heard, we talked a lot about Sean Payton. The Atlanta Falcons have requested an interview with Saints co-defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen. So there's a lot of connective tissue. Of course, Terry Fontenot, who's the GM in Atlanta, was in the front office with the Saints, and he was in the front office when they hired Nielsen from NC State, his previous job. So there's that connection there. Obvious familiarity with the NFC South. So, and then the other side, if you're Ryan Nielsen, I mean, he's got a co-DC role in New Orleans with Chris Richard, and Dennis Allen's the one actually calling the defense. So if you did go, Dean Pease retired in Atlanta. If he did leave New Orleans for Atlanta, assuming he interviews and gets the job, he would go to a spot where he would have more autonomy, clearly, to be the defensive coordinator, to call the defense, and to build his own defense, which he doesn't have here. It's that co-defensive coordinator title is nothing more than a title, where Dennis Allen is calling the defense, and two very good seasoned defensive assistants are sharing that title. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. Ryan Nielsen's going to interview for the Falcons defensive coordinator job. All right, it's after further review. Otter locks to wrap up a busy Monday show. Who does the Otter have, the Bucs or the boys? We'll find out next on AFR.
AFR.
Carnival time means king cake time, which means it's time to get to Rouse's. Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. You can get to Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Any of the Rouse's locations, you can find that location nearest you at Rouse's.com. The one nearest me is on Long Farm. It's Airline at Antioch in Baton Rouge. Find the Rouse's near you. Just go to the Rouse's.com. There's a store locator tab right there at the top of the homepage on the mobile as well. And if you're not in Louisiana, no worries. Rouse's will ship that piece of home to you anywhere in the country. So go to Rouse's.com. You'll see it right there on the homepage. It says now shipping king cakes. You'll see the king cake tab on the flipper. Just click that, and it'll bring you right to the page where you can order that king cake, the black and gold, the filled king cake, the traditional king cake package. It's all there for you at Rouse's.com. That's Rouse's.com. Send that little slice home to anyone, anywhere in the country. Ship your king cakes and get your king cakes. Rouse's. This feels like home.
Bayou Ford has $4,000 off MSRP plus $1,000 Ford credit cash on new 22 Ford F-150 XLT trucks. That's $5,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Cornwall Toyota in Opelousas is here to help you ring in the new year with no markups, and you'll never pay over MSRP. And we have new inventory arriving daily. So Happy New Year.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, great weekend for those following along on Lock of the Week Friday, a 5-0 weekend in the NFL playoffs. That's not too bad at all. Let's see if we can polish it off, make it a perfect weekend. Otter, how are you, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. How about the overs, huh? 5 for 5 in the overs. Man, I can't remember. Usually I'm a guy who kind of sets the unders blind. Didn't take any unders this weekend, but I like it tonight. I hate to say it went from 46.5 to 45.5. I understand that Dallas is highly inconsistent, a little banged up in the secondary, but it's all about the matchup where Tampa is one of the worst, if not the worst, rushing football team in the league. And this Dallas pass rush is pretty good, and they don't have to respect that running game at all. So they need to just get to Brady. Brady's going to release the ball quickly, and he does a very good job of that. But when he's releasing it so quickly, it's underneath stuff. It's sort of a controlled passing game. I think you'll see a lot of quick underneath throws, which eats up the clock. So I really do like the under tonight after an unbelievable run. Now, the game last night, it's kind of where you bet it. It was 41.5 earlier in the week, Cincinnati and Baltimore. And, of course, it went down all the way to 40. So it's a matter of where you put on the closing line. All of the games did go over this weekend. And even last night it was over with a lot of time to spare. It didn't go over by a ton. But, I mean, a lot of these games were flying over this past weekend. Unusual for the playoffs, where they kind of eat the whistles a little bit on pass interference, stuff like that. They kind of let them play a little bit more. But, not the case. How about what game was it that went 4 hours? The Buffalo Miami.
Yeah, well, they had to delay the start of Minnesota Giants because that one was going so long.
3 hours and 40 minutes wasn't enough to get that one in. Hey, man, let's speed things up a little bit. The reviews, stuff like that. But anyway, I got the under tonight.
Okay.
So Randy McKay, the professional sports bettor, he likes both the total and the game. We'll hear from him tonight. Me and Charlie and Max over here at Rouge Creole.
Are you going to give Randy's pick, or you'll let him give it on the show?
Yeah, we're going to play it at 6:15.
Okay, so 6:15. So however you're listening to us right now, stay tuned in. Well, actually, it's not true, because if you're listening in New Orleans or Alexandria, you're not going to hear it. So if you're not in Baton Rouge, make sure you're tuned in to 1045ESPN.com or the app, or Game Time with Jimmy Ott Facebook page to get Randy's pick coming up here in about 20 minutes from right now. Anything else we're looking at tonight, Otter, or anything else this week? Any early thoughts on the divisional round?
I do have this. The look-ahead line, if San Francisco and Philadelphia made it to the conference championship, was going to be San Francisco around 2.5. They're a very public team, and they're covering just about every time Purdy's been in there, minus the Raiders game. And they covered in a big way again this past Saturday. So I think one thing there is and I took them plus 450 to win it all, because I'm going to be able to hedge. They will be favored in the rest of their games.
Okay.
Now, if there's a Philly rout and they win on a last-second field goal or 98-yard scoop and score when some guy at 2023 is still reaching the ball out, I mean, something like that. So, it looks like San Francisco, including the Super Bowl, even if it would be against Kansas City or Buffalo, they would probably be the favorite.
Okay. All right. Game Time with Jimmy Ott. Follow us. Where are you tonight, Otter?
Rouge Creole in Perkins Row.
Great spot, man. Y'all get out and see the Otter tonight. If you can't make it, make sure you watch Otter on the Game Time with Jimmy Ott Facebook page or listen at 1045ESPN.com. Otter, thanks so much, man. Have a great night.
Thank you, Matt.
All right. It's After Further Review. Our Monday shows, of course, always brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Really good show today. If you missed anything, in hour one, we talked about Sean Payton and the Chargers, how that's not a likelihood. We went through all the LSU draft decisions. Today was the deadline for players to enter the NFL draft, and it looks like the Tigers are going to get John Emery back. Nothing formal from John Emery about leaving, and so I think he's going to be back, which is fantastic news for the Tigers. And if you missed it earlier this hour, Colin Hurley, LSU's 2024 quarterback commit, was with us. As impressive an interview with a high school athlete as I think I've ever done. You should be very, very, very excited about that young man. He's a high school sophomore. I mean, he was incredible. So, all right, it's going to do it for us here. Muse, Paulie, appreciate y'all. If you missed anything, AFR On Demand, presented by Brett Golf. Check it out on the search After Further Review on your favorite podcast app, or watch us on the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. Y'all have a great night. Otter is coming up next. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, bumper-to-bumper auto service, and name brand tires at wholesale prices. You know where to find them. Again, ShawBillsTire.com. For more than 50 years, Shaw Bills, say it all the time, where we keep you rolling. One of the things that's so impressive about Shaw Bills, remember, when you buy your tires at Shaw Bills, they have the Charlie's Dozen. That is the membership benefits that they extend not only to you for buying your tires at Shaw Bills, but that they extend to every member of the family, even if you didn't buy the tires for every vehicle in your family at Shaw Bills. It's just their commitment to doing right by the customers. As they always say, they treat you like family. A family-owned and operated business for more than 50 years. Since the day they opened their business, their doors more than 50 years ago, their commitment is to their customers. It's ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $7,500 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. New 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $7,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail